It wasn't remarkable or funny.
Well,
You made it that, and that's your fault. I want you to take ownership of that.
That was your own.
DJ Khaled is your fault.
whoa! I can't take that
Damn.
burden.
Oh, it's a one-way ticket to destination. Fuck.
Like, wow, dude.
Oh, this dude's just
out of
gone.
there.
He's like,
He's just
out,
fucking leaving.
out.
I don't want nothing to do with this.
All right,
What the
well,
fuck is this shit?
I don't know.
What the fuck is this shit?
Three-wide idiocy. Nice. Dude in the van's like, fuck you today.
You want to tiddle the tittle?
What? Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 174 of the Camcast.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Professor. Yay, indeed. What? He's excited. Just let him be excited,
What's
Zach.
going on with his hair?
We'll get to that in a minute. I am Mike, dear leader, Doc Taste, leader of man, herder of cats, so on and so forth. And I am joined, as always, to my right by the one, the only, the professor of the ghetto arts. You are mine, our Uncle Radical. We call him Scoots for a reason. Dave Raleigh.
I'm like 9 shenanigans deep.
Attaboy.
It tastes great.
God, Chirp is going to get real pissed when he hears that. Chirp is not a fan of the
This
ASMR.
one's for you, Chirp.
Yeah, there you go. Bring you maximum annoyance. He's over there just having a party you can't see. Laughing his ass off. It's the birthday boy, Lord of the Board, Zack Lords.
I'm present.
Are you?
Are you really, though?
No, not at all.
All right, well.
He is physically present, however, he is mentally checked out hours ago.
Thanks to some very nice Captain Morgan.
Oh, all righty.
R.
Are you ready, kids?
I say that every time I hit 120 going through a school zone.
Good God. And
Speed bump.
God
I'm being
damn.
judged so hard from the other side of the table right now.
we have our two guests. They both get it, but they're both displaying it different ways. It is Matt Guyver, Dave Kazarian of NASA, Utah.
Hey,
Hi.
everyone.
Hi, thanks for waving.
Howdy.
Dave. There you go.
Yes, wave on this audio medium.
Use your words, buddy.
I learned it from watching Zack.
Why are you watching him?
I'm not the example.
Why are you watching the child? Don't learn from him.
I'm an adult today.
You
You
were
keep
adult
telling
3
yourself
years
that.
ago.
Hey, I can...
I'll drink to that.
Same.
Anyway, we are at Cam Automag on all the social media, so if you have enjoyed, I don't know, these first couple of minutes, or if you've hated them, feel free to let us know. Just at Cam Automag on your vehicle of choice.
Snapchat?
We abandoned that.
I will run that up.
So-
The youth of the group, I can use this newfangled technology.
TikTok?
No.
Social.media/Cam Automag.
Dude, even my generation hates fucking TikTok, dude.
I don't know what TikTok is.
For like 4-year-olds.
And pedophiles.
It's for tweenagers and pedophiles. Let's be real.
Moving quickly past that.
Wow.
God in heaven. Now I understand why all of you hate the soundboard. I'm not getting rid of it, but now I understand why you all hate it.
I love it.
Oh, I realized this 3 fucking weeks ago when you non-stop used it.
Your mother and I are very proud of you, Zach.
Oh, thank you.
I still just appreciate that everybody thinks you're still using it, Zach, even though you cannot reach it, and I've posted many photos to the point that to prove that you can't reach it.
I have to throw shit at it. Where's my fucking paper towels?
You mean our paper towels?
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Oh, wrong one.
It worked, though.
I was looking for this
Right.
one. No. No.
Yeah.
Not the one I wanted.
I mean,
stop. Make it stop.
God damn.
Abort.
It's time to stop.
Thank
it is
you.
indeed.
You can find Matt and Dave on the social medias. They're at NASA Utah,
I'm gonna follow that one
NASAUtah.com,
as well,
and
too.
all sorts of other places. Just, NASA Utah into your internet thing of choice, and they should pop up. Or something like them. Either or.
No Twitters.
You're not missing much. Anyway, find this podcast everywhere you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, like, rate, review, subscribe, and all of that. Patreon.com/CamAutomag is where you go if you want to give us money, if you feel we've earned it. or if you think we could do better with more money,
Let's be real. We've earned it.
really, you've enjoyed I don't know how many episodes of this for absolutely nothing.
No one's in that shot.
But anyway,
Oh,
what?
no. Oh.
Could you fill in the last two sounds on the soundboard with more money?
I mean, we could do a lot of things with more money.
I mean, we probably very easily could. Do we want to?
I do.
Probably not.
We could use the Law and Order noise.
I think there was some talk about Trent Nathan Tanner paying me to remove it.
Yeah,
Too, and I don't know how I feel about that anymore. Like, I'm starting to grow attached to it.
yeah. We've come this far with it.
Was it a single payment or Patreon?
It was going to be $20 a week to me directly.
Oh, well then. I mean, he can.
You're not worth it.
might
That
be
sounds
willing
like mutiny.
Might be willing to do that $20 an episode.
But can we have like the Law and Order, like
So
the double gong with like the speech?
no.
No, like
I'm okay
I just
in
like
the criminal justice system, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous.
Wow.
In New York City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies
I'll play that
Jesus.
3 times speed.
do it.
Okay.
Do it. Do
Man.
it.
Down.
Do it.
If you subscribe to us on Patreon for at least $5 a month, you can go ahead and get in the Cam Shenanigans group chat, or not group chat, the secret Facebook group, which is pretty much exactly like what you've just heard. A lot of nonsense and shit posting, and somebody trying to talk
So
about...
it's just like the internet.
Yeah, except it's us.
Are we literally the internet?
I'm,
Bong bong.
We have acquired a very particular set of skills.
anyway, patreon.com/camautomag. Shout out to you if you've made it this far.
I haven't.
No, you have.
We're only 6 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, feels like a lot longer.
Feels like an eternity.
Anyway, we have some. We don't have any responses necessarily to last week, but we do have some letters. Let's see.
Ooh, what do we got here?
Let's see. Brandon Kuhn.
The $250 million question.
Oh yes, it's the NASCAR night race at Bristol, and you're driving. Drivers at the night race pick their own intro music. What tune is rocking the world of 180,000 people when they call your name?
180,000 of your best friends.
I mean, that's a lot of people to call my best friend.
I don't
Let's
have-
not.
I'm an acquaintance to many and a friend to few, okay?
There we are. Anyway, okay, Zach.
Oh, no. You do yours. I'll pull up the music.
Jesus Christ, really?
What you were?
I'm sorry. I actually want to have the music for this.
We just teed that up for you,
Wow, Zach.
Zach.
Wow.
Okay, well, it's right here.
Okay, what is it, Zach? Oh God.
Oh, a poorly placed ad. Hold on.
This is what you're paying for, people.
Are we supposed to play the music of choice?
No.
It sounds like Japanimation.
Hold on.
I mean, I feel like we're going to hit with copyright infringement for this.
Yeah,
We
probably.
get 30 seconds.
Yeah.
We're good.
Oh, okay. All
Or
right.
we can
all right.
play the whole thing so long as we talk over it.
Okay, that
That's
works
fine.
too.
That's how we're skirting the whole Ryan Celsius thing.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
I get it now.
Oh,
Really?
God.
You're going to be blasting Eurobeat? Get the fuck out.
Intensify.
What state is Bristol in?
It's I think it's one of the Carolinas.
Is it the
It's
Carolinas?
I thought it was
Yeah.
UK.
Bristol, South Carolina. I
The
think
dirty South.
it's the South.
It's like the tri-state area. It's like
good
North,
old-fashioned
South,
Rust
and
Belt.
Tennessee or something
It's
like
like
that.
Tennessee, I think.
Is
Where
it?
Bristol is.
Okay. Bristol Motor Speedway and wherever.
So,
I've
yeah.
been to the
I
Speedway
mean-
in Tennessee.
I mean, I've got my answer.
What do you got, Dave?
And my answer was wrong.
For the love of
This
God.
is way better.
I'm just saying.
That's fair.
I don't.
I think we might need a vote for this.
This is,
And I'm definitely not going to win.
you know what? I'm just.
It was either sexy sax, or or like I don't know Rocky IV theme. Fuck it, right?
I was
Let's
torn-
just go way off the beaten path.
I was
The first
between-
3 Rockies didn't count.
Did they, though?
No, none of them did.
You know what? I just want to put it to the people. Those are your two choices: Eurobeat, Careless Whisper.
I mean,
See, that was my third choice.
All right, there we go. It's a 3-horse race.
Oh, I gotta get to the first race.
We can keep going.
It just keeps going.
So long.
And he's gone in Tokyo.
If you see me, then you know you got to go Tokyo.
Fast and Furious.
Uh-huh.
Drift.
I'll stop.
Okay.
Ready, set, go.
Jesus.
Knock, knock.
Wow.
Matt doesn't look too enthused by this
Knock,
question.
knock.
No, it's fine. I was just kind of perusing.
Matt's
what I might
looking for
play.
his own song.
He's ready to YouTube it.
Please be
Oh, my
Adele.
God.
Something from Adele.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm not really that great with like. I can just say sort of genres. I don't know that I could say like artists and name that I would.
So, what genre would you choose?
Well, I think I'd probably pick something out of like one of the Survive albums. Those are all pretty good.
Okay.
I know that's a little obscure. You probably won't.
Is it before my time?
You wouldn't get it.
Everything's before your time.
That was really hipster of you to say,
Oh,
man.
I felt terrible.
I liked them before they were popular.
Let me.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm going to get here, so I'm
That's-
just going to try.
That's some
like,
hipster peer pressure. Come on, dude. Nobody's doing it.
Let's see if I can find something for you.
All right.
One moment.
Well, while you're doing
What do you got? What do you got?
I'm going to come out just like the Smiths did.
You gonna come out swinging?
No, I'm going to come out to this. Come on. Come on. There we go.
Who turned their mic off?
I think Matt did.
Oh,
Hello.
that's we could just mute that.
Yeah, we can.
You could turn that back on now.
I love the
It's
smell of
muted.
napalm in the morning.
Smells like victory.
Smells like Agent Orange.
Yep.
Soylent Green is my kind of people.
Wow, we're so fucking nerdy.
I mean-
picked Eurobeat. You picked Tokyo Drift. You picked Sexy Sax. The fuck is wrong
Careless
with us?
Whisper.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess.
Sexy Sax Man.
I should have picked.
Boo! He doesn't like George Michaels. Boo!
You know what? I revoke my answer because this is being played in the Dirty South. I want some Kid Rock being playing for me
Why?
Wow.
because I'm that guy.
Because you're
NASCAR.
that white trash, huh?
Boy.
They call that pandering.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. What do you got, Matt?
See if I can make it play.
I like where this is going.
Just builds a little ambiance.
Yeah.
I like
I
it.
loved this song in
Mysterious.
RoboCop.
Yeah.
This just makes me want to buy the 1989 Mercury Sable.
The Sucks 2000.
I like that. That's a good choice.
A new car for a new decade. The Chevy Celebrity.
God damn. That's definitely Eurosport wagon, like 3.1. Like, yeah.
My grandma had a Eurosport.
Yep.
Yes. Yes. I greatly appreciate shitbox front-wheel drive GM cars.
3.8.
So, GM cars.
Yeah.
Yes. I had a 90 Sunbird GT Turbo in high school. All right?
And look how it shaped you.
And look at what it has done to me.
Look at what you've become.
You went to the junkyard and retrieved an ECU and engine from a what?
Just a Haltech from a Chevy Sprint.
Yeah.
It had a turbo Isuzu motor in it, but still.
Man.
Go ahead, try to justify it. Ain't helping.
Okay. All right.
Man. All right. So we've got. I think we're only going to do one more of these. I'm going to save. Sam, we're going to save your question for a little
Yes.
later.
Yeah, we're going to say that because I can touch on this one
Yeah. So
pretty heavily.
Sam, we will get to your question probably next week.
Worry not, sir.
I promise we will get to it. Let's see. Undo that. So, do we want to talk about California Autobahn, or do we want to do a track daily crush with YouTube drift cars?
Oh, boy.
I don't know any of those cars, so let's do.
Well, I mean, I could probably briefly explain.
One
Hold
of
on,
them
let's
was
put it off.
Miata.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, this is okay.
Okay, so
Oh, I know two of these cars. Okay, I know two of these cars.
So we've got Adam LZ's Cream 240SX.
Yeah, I've seen this one. This
Yeah.
was actually on Hoonigans' channel.
Right, right. I don't remember what motor is in this one.
I think it's a 2J. But
Is
I'm
it a
gonna
2J?
Get, I'm
Okay.
going to get blasted on the internet if it's not.
Yeah, you're right. Same deal. Hertz Twerk Stallion,
Matt, you look terrified.
which is his FC, his Hot Boy FC.
Yeah,
now
I don't know what any of these are.
Okay, hold on. We will.
Are they on the grid? Because I don't know if they're not on the grid.
I mean, you're going to have to pick one to drive on the track. You're going to have to pick one to drive every day.
How can I do that when I don't know any of them are?
Okay.
Fuck it. Should we just do the California Autobahn?
We're just doing the Autobahn
We're just
thing.
gonna do
All
the
right.
Autobahn.
I can't play.
Dylan,
we
we're
love
getting
you.
yours next week, too. So, AJ, congratulations. You are the other lucky winner of absolutely nothing.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He's got a novel over here. Okay, shall I read this in my daddy voice?
No, your daddy voice takes too long.
Okay, that's fair. Shall I read this in my normal voice?
Yes.
Okay.
Your normal voice and cadence is much better than your daddy voice as far as getting stuff done in a timely manner.
Okay.
I bet he could have read it in his daddy's voice, and if you said nothing, it would have gone faster.
No, it wouldn't have.
Okay.
God damn.
Probably would have.
Thank you for the support, gentlemen. Oh, guys, what do you think about this idea to put an Autobahn in California? I'll tell you what I think. I think it's a complete waste of time and effort, and here is why. California has plenty of highways and freeways and alternate routes out the wazoo. You know who needs an Autobahn? The fucking South. Take Tennessee, for example. I make frequent trips to Athens for work. Now, from Knoxville to Athens is about an hour drive, a little over 50 miles for those of you playing the home game. The only way to traverse this is a two-lane, quote-unquote, highway posted at 65 miles per hour, 85% of which you'll spend behind a redneck roadblock consisting of a 26-truck-long convoy in one lane and Farmer Tom in his early 2000s Champagne Silverado 2500 HD doing 5 over like he's breaking the land speed record.
That's a lot for old man Tom.
Jesus Christ, I think he just described southern Utah County.
Yes, he did.
Most
Anywho.
of Idaho, to be honest.
No shit. Just give us a fast lane where the idiots who know where the loud pedal is can go flat out and not have to bob and weave around miles and miles of LS-swapped brodozers.
Trying.
Asterisk, they all come with them. Trying their best, i.e. foot to the floor with a tailwind, maintaining a solid 83 miles an hour because they didn't realize how much their 32-inch Super Swampers would gear down their rear end.
God damn.
All right.
Jesus Christ.
Well, AJ, you got...
First of all, this is well articulated.
Yeah.
I appreciate the context. He really drew a story for me here.
Hey,
he did.
AJ paints a picture.
But
He
but
does
second-
appreciate that.
Second of all, he's asking to do something very illegal. Like, what's the point? What is he? I don't even. He's rambling.
He's
basically just complaining about Tennessee, apparently, and the trucks that are there. I get it. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
complain about it at all. But 83 miles an hour is a perfectly respectable speed. How fast does he want to go?
he's
85.
He's the guy who
He wants to do 120 on the way home? That doesn't seem like a great idea.
he did a
Are
hard.
you ready, kids?
He didn't specify what he's driving either.
It sure isn't that old.
Because I'm sure we
Brodozer.
can do
Probably
290.
a Chevy Celebrity 3.1 Eurosport.
Hold on, no. We can pull up a vehicle. He did some very dumb things. Yeah.
Well, I'm
totally
pretty sure
support-
that we
no,
could
the
probably say
Mazda
that.
929.
Yeah, it wasn't the 929.
I was going to say, I'm sure there's a car that we could say that's not a good idea to go that fast in, right?
Like my Mustang.
Yeah, so
Your 4-cylinder ragtop
So-
Mustang.
we talked about doing cruise control and triple digits and all this stuff. So he gave us a story about the time he did triple digits messing around with somebody in California in a Mazda 929.
I just don't feel like he has a lot of platform to stand on here.
God damn.
Sorry, AJ. I think
Whoa,
that
whoa.
you're asking a bit too much.
Are you gatekeeping over here?
No,
I am old. I get to.
Yeah.
Get off my lawn.
there we go.
Sorry to call me not an enthusiast over here. God
Ooh,
damn.
shit.
Damn.
What, you have a Mustang?
Done and
I haven't hit a crowd yet, so I don't know.
But you did have a tire
really
fall.
are?
You just
Mustang?
barely learned how to drive then.
God damn.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, there wasn't really an argument there.
No, he just wanted to vent, which is
Yeah, which I totally get. I appreciate.
which
Hit
is,
me with a goddamn noop.
And he,
God damn.
he didn't
God
even. I mean,
damn.
he vented very effectively.
He really did.
Like I said, drew
Really
a paint,
did.
painted
Yeah.
a very good picture. I get
It's a
it.
beautiful
The
story.
Brodozers,
Yep.
eloquent.
So
Oh, yeah.
I want to argue for the contrary. So I don't know your past where you've lived before, but I've spent a lot of time in Idaho, and especially
I don't know who the fuck you are, but here's my real shit right here, okay?
They call that
Check
Northern
it out.
Utah.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, Logan North.
Ogden North.
I spent a lot of time in shithole Idaho.
Western Montana.
They're all the fucking same.
Eastern Oregon.
Yes. Less rain though.
Southern Alberta.
And
Beautiful British Columbia.
please elaborate your point. You have the control.
So I do have the control. So I spent a lot of time in shithole Idaho, where most of the towns have 3 bars, 1 gas station, and a high school. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. Like, there's plenty of like county line roads are the exact
Zach,
same.
where did you have to be when you were in Idaho?
Not in Idaho.
Yes.
I mean, where were you going in such a hurry in Idaho?
Between the 2 towns that have food.
Oh. That seems like
You
a
were
very
driving.
important task.
You
to
were
haul your ass
driving
around at
across
speed.
thousands of acres of potatoes to find something not made of a potato.
Was there a thresher blocking your way?
I just don't see what's the rush.
That's somebody different.
Where you got to go so fast?
Okay.
I'm hungry. I get it. You probably should have planned ahead.
Fair enough.
Piece
But-
of beef jerky for the
okay,
road?
let me
I mean,
paint a
really.
picture. So, it is Thanksgiving morning. No, it's Thanksgiving. It's the day before Thanksgiving. Your grandma has asked you to go pick up whatever ranch packet.
Hello, Zack.
Packet that
Can you grab me some ranch dressing,
Can you pick up my baggie of weed?
Zack?
Grandma needs to get lit before she cooks this turkey.
I can't argue you right now. Okay, and you're asked to go pick it up, but your cousin's coming to town. You want to see him, so you have to drive into Idaho Falls from Ammon, which is a 35-mile drive on 2-lane back road, boring ass, middle of fucking nowhere roads, and you got.
So you want to put an Autobahn in Idaho?
Yes, hear me out.
That's a stupid idea.
Continue.
You are stuck behind 13 miles of fucking potato trucks. 4 fucking champagne-colored Dodge, whatever the fuck he said.
Zack, what took you so long? It's not like there's miles of potatoes in the way.
Well, I mean, just do the math, though. The difference of you doing like 45 mile an hour and 55 mile over 35 miles, it's trivial.
It's trivial, but
And I'm not saying
My-
speed kills. Obviously, I don't believe in that, but still.
No,
my
that
Super
myth
will
has been debunked several times.
Agreed.
my Super will top at 108, which I actually found out on that exact trip, doing that
Wait,
exact
so
run.
you just told
Passing
me
potato trucks.
Yes.
that you broke a federal law
We have broken many federal laws on this
on
podcast.
No, we haven't. No, we have not broken a
What is-
single
what is-
goddamn federal law.
off
not
the
on this
record.
podcast.
Is that
All right. No, this
Never happened.
podcast is above board. This organization is above board. And I resent the fact that you said you broken laws, federal laws, while on this podcast.
in a shitty car?
Going 108.
Wow.
So, back to this hypothetical situation that I was in. The road,
Just can't stop him.
the
keeps
road
going.
is 45 miles an hour. Subaru's top speed is 108. I'm not saying I did it the whole way because there were potato trucks and brodozers. And how the fuck is that Saturn still on the road cars? You know what I'm talking about, right?
I think so, yes.
How the fuck is that Saturn still on the road, but it's on the road?
Saturns are very good cars.
You know what? Them little plastic cars are actually pretty goddamn cool, all right?
They
mean-
just keep going.
They're okay.
I will remove myself from this conversation.
SCCA G-Stock.
It would
I'm
be-
just going to
I'm gonna
dump
say, I
that
don't-
right there. G-Stock production, like the 90s, right? The SC1s, SC2s,
Dominated.
the Neons.
Also, when you talk about adding forklifts to a class,
Well,
That's going to go right up in
No.
there
No,
with the Panther chassis.
I'll tell you
and-
what. You guys fork out $45,000 for a weekend, and you can start any class you want.
I'm down. Are you down?
I'm not. I don't
No.
like. I don't like those numbers.
That's a
Those are
Trust
rookie
me,
numbers.
it's a lot
son.
of exposure.
What?
Well,
Yeah.
back to finishing up my rambling. I will succeed, but it would be nice to have ways. Stop laughing at me! I can't do this.
You made a spare parts, bud?
What's the next question?
Have you ever done this before, Zach?
Oh, there is no other question.
No, I'm done. I'm sitting on the couch right
Go sit on the couch.
Oh, God. Man, we just showed him a black flag and told him to park at a spot for a while. There we
I'm
go.
gonna come back with the ore. Don't make me.
Oh, you thought. I will take that fucking ore out of your hands, son.
Fucking try me.
Do you
Not
really
in
want
his
this?
basement, bro.
Do you really want this to happen?
Oh, please no. I'll stop. I'm done. You're right. There's no point to have higher speed limits on any of the U.S. roads ever because doing 65 is the best way to get around this country, this beautiful land. Sea to shining sea.
I just feel like
Amber waves of grain.
people are always going to bitch about something, and sometimes you have to deal with the cards you're dealt.
Yes. Have yourself another drinky poo.
I'm done.
What else we got on the agenda?
Can I talk about things at Life?
Yeah, sure. We can talk about the life thing.
Okay.
Fire away.
I went to the Life event, the one at the Hoonigans, the Crown Vics, the drifting.
This weekend?
This weekend, yeah. It was on
It was
Saturday.
called the Taxiderby.
It was
by
called
the way.
Taxiderby. Yeah, it was. I made a video about it, so if you guys want to check it out, go over to Utah Drives.
We'll
Self-promotion.
We'll post a link.
Okay, it was
Lot of
pretty
fun.
good. But dude, it was actually a lot of fucking fun. I was so surprised. Everyone there was incredibly nice to everyone. There was probably, I think,
Except for that one guy.
except the one guy who,
Except for the one dude.
We don't need them. Everyone's cool.
Yeah. But there was probably, I don't know, 100 people that showed up throughout the whole day. It was split pretty evenly between drifters and people there to watch and photographers.
To photograph.
Wah, wah.
Photograph.
Here.
You're getting Zackitis over there. I'm sorry.
You're
But to photograph the taxiderby, but it was actually a lot of fun. I got to meet some fancy, cool, awesome people like Hurt from Hoonigans, Cherry Slayer, Dave's roommate, other cool people. I met Cole again. Cole's always like the nicest guy ever. But my trick for these kind of events, and I'll do the same thing for the NASA events, is I like meeting people. Meeting people are the greatest assets you have. So what I do is I bring snacks. So I will just bring a legitimate box of Gushers or like individually wrapped Oreos and walk around the pits and be like, hey, I don't know you. Do you want a Gusher? And they'll take a Gusher and be like, oh, my name is Zach, and I can give them my spiel, and like I can meet people. It fucking works always.
You've got that down on a 3x5 card, right?
Oh, I should have that next time. I'll pull out. Hi, my name is Zach. I would like to meet you. You want a Gusher? And I'll rotate it back for the next line.
Deal.
So
You'll have a lot of takers because sometimes there's not a lot of food available at the
yeah,
racetrack.
it really works great. And I've met people like the time I met Hurt. I literally walked in and goes, "Do you want a Gusher?" And he goes, "Fuck yeah, I want a Gusher." And I was like, "Here you go. My name's Zach." So yeah, it was super awesome. It was a lot of fun. Seeing a lot of the drifters out there was super cool too. I'm excited to see what people are going to be doing later this season. I saw a lot of newcomers are excited to be doing drifting.
Good.
And
Go watch his video.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yep.
And Jake is fucking killing it with his new angle.
You know what? I actually saw that. Yeah, shout out to Jake Morrow. He's got angle on the Corvette now,
It's fucking
and
sick.
he's not looping the car.
What is this verbiage you're talking? He's got angle?
More
angle,
steering angle.
steering angle.
So a kit that increases steering
Yes.
angle?
Exactly.
On a
Sorry,
C5
kids.
Vet.
And they make that for a C5 Corvette?
Yes,
Yep.
they make that for several cars.
There was a 370 with a Wisefab kit on it that had almost perpendicular angle. It was fucking crazy.
I've seen images of that, like in
Yeah.
the E30s and
Yeah.
such, yeah.
It's really quite entertaining.
But I kind of shout out to that kid. He definitely dumped it off the edge.
Attaboy.
You
I
know
did
where
hear that kind of. Yeah, he sent it off the
Yeah.
the drop.
He almost hit Andrew and Hunter by like this much. It was
Sick.
kind of funny.
For those of you listening,
It was
that
a
was
little.
about an inch.
Yeah, it was a little.
Yep.
It was a mile. But yeah, that was my little spiel. It was super awesome. Go check out my video, Utah Drives. Hit me up.
Cool. There we
Great,
go.
thanks, Zach.
All right. Well,
He shared that video with us earlier today in this podcast, and it was
Yep.
definitely entertaining.
Yep. And we will share it with you in the description of this here episode. So you can find it. Real easy.
Indeed.
Anyway, moving right along, Zach's Rambling was brought to you by us over at Cam Auto Swag.
I'm not sure you want that on your shoulders.
Well, it is.
Okay.
Along with many other things that I didn't ask for but was presented with.
You're welcome.
Anyway, CamAutoswag.com. Go ahead and drape yourself, mostly in the torso and the head, but not necessarily to the toes.
You don't have sweatpants?
No.
We did have socks.
Yeah.
I attempted to drape myself in some Cam Auto swag, and apparently it's not here.
You just wanted it. Like,
I
mean,
wanted it now. I paid for it. Where is it?
It's on its way, Matthew. All right.
Prove it.
It's your money. Use it when you need it.
Where's my tracking number?
J.G. Wentworth.
877 cash now.
God in heaven.
877 cam now.
Oh, there we go. Trent, we got a new shirt for you.
It's your style. Use it when you need it.
Done. All right. Need to wrap this shit up so I can get crazy in
It's your
Photoshop.
angle.
Thank you.
Ooh, we got two out of that
Hey.
one. There we go. Anyway, CamAutoswag.com. Get yourself some cam gear. Look stylish. Get the Pinto Go Boom shirt. It's awesome.
It's February and now apparently March's shirt of the month.
It's the shirt of the month until it isn't. So
It's the shirt of the month until we decide we're going to give you something different, like maybe Understeer to Victory.
or something. I don't know.
I still have to whip up a Cult of Fiero t-shirt.
I'm
yeah.
excited for that. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be great.
Yep. Anyway, CamAutoswag.com. And now our little chat with Matt and Dave is brought to you by our friends over at Steady Broke Clothing. Dave? Give us the
Oh,
Steady Broke
that's
spiel.
my cue.
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
I was about ready to do it. Steady broke.
Steady.broke on all the various social medias. SteadyBroke.com. Go check it out. They've got T-shirts. They've got hoodies. They've got hats. All kinds of good stuff. You can get the Broke State University T-shirt. Get the Depresso T-shirt. I have one of those. You should get one of those as well. Tommy has been a longtime friend of ours, and we want to support him because he supports us. So put a whole bunch of stuff in the cart, and before you check out, type in CamAuto15 in the coupon code box. It gets you 15% off the entire order. Just because you're broke doesn't mean you can't live your dreams. Steady Broke Clothing.
All right. So, gentlemen. Yes, you two. Who do you think I'm going to call gentleman? Him?
Yeah,
this
no.
guy?
No, I knew you were
For
addressing
those
me.
listening, he pointed at Dave and Zach.
Yeah. No.
Zack and Dave,
It
to be
just
fair.
seemed like I surprised Dave. But anyway, so the season is coming up.
Yeah, less than 3 weeks.
Yes. So,
When's the first event?
It's going to be the end of the month. That's March 29th through
31st.
April. Was
Yeah.
it 31st?
Yeah.
31st through the 2nd of April.
Very nice.
No, 29th through 31st.
No, one of those things. Last week of the month.
last weekend of the month.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yep.
You can find the schedule at nasautah.com. We posted it up on our news page as well as you can find the drop down for schedule.
Do
It's
you
also
guys-
right on the homepage.
Beautiful. Do you guys post on any social medias?
We cover all the important ones.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Like.
TikTok, Snapchat.
Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah, you'll find NASA Utah on Facebook and Instagram. Look us up. Definitely ask us questions. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. And
Perfect.
So, for those who don't know, so back in the days, in the way back times, there was the MPRA, the Miller Park Racing Association, and then lapbattle.com Time Attack. And then one day, as my recollection was, there was suddenly NASA, and there was no more MPRA or Lap Battle. Now, I know it just didn't happen like that.
Right.
How did it come to be?
Well, Biggie and I worked very hard on building the lap battle program, and the MPRA was sort of a holdover or a holding place for a racing organization. The MPRA basically hosted a racing series for people that wanted to go racing for a region that didn't have a race program. The SCCA tried. Dave ran the SCCA road racing organization for quite a while, but they really struggled to make ends meet. They didn't have the right program. They didn't have the right following necessarily to make that program a success. So meanwhile, me and Biggie continued to campaign the grassroots motorsports, and we started with Lap Battle. We created an introductory level program that really appealed to the younger audience, because racing to us meant more than just having a great deal of income and a Porsche in the garage. We wanted to show that anybody could race, and that's always been something I've campaigned for. We tried to get NASA for quite a while, but they had always sort of indicated that we couldn't make it a success in the region. We just didn't have a strong enough demographic. There's not enough capita per se to generate that kind of income. And Rocky Mountain tried. They came here and ran events at our facility, but UMC or MMP at the time, as it was known, is one of the most expensive facilities to rent in the country, and it makes it very difficult to run a club racing program. So we continued on our own and built the lap battle program into the success that it was, generated a great deal of young enthusiasm for the sport. And then we finally managed to get the attention of one of the Miller family, Roger, bless his heart, and asked him to go get NASA because NASA wouldn't give it to us. They said, we won't put our name on something that's going to fail. So we said, well, Roger, you go do it. You go get it for us. Get the sanction. And he went there and talked to him and said, well, your name's in the park. So yeah, heck yeah. And he turned around and gave it to me and Biggie to run. So we started NASA Utah, and it was always sort of MPRA's place, if you will, to be dissolved. If I don't know a better term to use, but it was never intended to be a lasting. It was only a holdover until a club could take over, and they really they'd made it clear they wanted SCCA or NASA to take over. So when we were finally able to start it, we rolled the lap battle campaign directly into NASA, even so far as we had actually maintained lap battle classing for the first year of NASA, which was a bit of a conflict because NASA has a very successful time trial program that's nationally sanctioned, which is really great. It's nice to know that if you're a TT1 competitor here, you can go anywhere in the country and race TT1 or TT5 or whatever, whereas lap battle was just sort of our own rules.
Yeah.
So it was great getting a national sanction and a national program that everybody could get some universal ground rules with. And yeah, we rolled that audience in, and there was definitely a bit of a culture clash to begin with. I think a lot of people struggled to understand why we were bringing a bunch of Subarus and Evos to the racetrack when all they did is shit all over the track and puke oil and fuel and stuff, catch on fire.
Typical Evo and Subaru things.
Damn.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the thing. Like, trust me, we were a region full of Porsche Cup cars. This is the elite, and they really didn't understand why we were bringing these cars to the track. And all I could say was, like, this guy's going to race for 40 more years of his life. You're 60 years old. You're going to race for 5 more years and quit.
Yeah, like,
what do you think I want to invest in? Like, I want to invest in the youth. That's where the future is. Like, we're going to be able to maintain. And if you look at the Utah demographic, I'm very passionate about this, by the way, but if you look at the Utah demographic, we are a younger audience than almost any other NASA region you go to, and we have a much longer retention rate. So you look at the average retention rate. I mean, look how long some of the people you know that have been racing, Brendan Stewart and Sean Murphy and some of these guys, they've been going since 2008.
Yeah.
I mean, back before NASA.
It's shocking when you talk to other regions, the age difference. Our sister regions really are Rocky Mountain and NOLA down in New Orleans.
Because NOLA's a new region.
They started the first year that NOLA opened, which was
2012. Don't quote me on this, but they were several years after
It might
us.
have been.
Yeah, it was like early teens, something like that. It was like,
right, but even talking to them, their demographic is 15, 20 years older than we are.
Yeah.
Their average driver age.
Right.
It's actually every time I'm in a room with other NASA regional directors, it's shocking to me. And I think the first time Matt and I were in a room with them all, it was shocking for both of us when they asked, like, how old are your racers? And we're like, probably average about 40-ish.
Yeah.
We do have some of the older ones, just like every other region, but it's not all we have.
No, like, you've got some people who are definitely...
You got guys in the 20s all the way up to the 70s, 60s.
Yeah, and we're happy to have them all, and we work really hard to make a program that's fun and entertaining for all of them.
Yeah.
But I am really proud that we're able to start a demographic with that is a bit younger because, I think ultimately, as a young region, like, we have to create sustainability and consistency for as long as possible to create success. That's probably one of the biggest keys to our success. So, that's how it kind of started. We rolled the lab battle program right in, took as many of them NPR racers as would have us. We even hosted open wheel racing, which isn't a NASA class for the longest time, to try to maintain a place for all those people to race. So that's the beginning, and here we are today.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when we did our first NASA event, there was, I don't remember the numbers, but it was abysmal. We had probably 45 or 60 cars total in the entire day. That was HPDE and time trial and road racing.
And road racing was one group and probably 15 cars on Saturday, and then drops to 9 on Sunday.
Wow.
And the bulk of that was, again, our lap battle program, our time trial program, and our HPDE drivers. So, for the audience that's listening that doesn't know what NASA is, it's a program that basically introduces drivers to road racing at an introductory level all the way to a professional road racing level. So we have a driving program for every driver in between. So you've never been on a racetrack before, you've got your street car, you're curious about this experience, we have a place to start you out. We'll give you an instructor, we'll make sure that you're comfortable. We have group leaders and rules in the group that keep it safe. We have a relatively small car count on track in the beginner groups. Yeah. So we basically introduce you as easy as we can to road racing and driving on the racetrack. And then from there, you can graduate to the ladder-based program with experience and demonstration of skills that you've gained through the program. You can progress to all the way to a professional road racing license that's recognized by any racing series in the country. So it's always been my goal to make road racing affordable and bring it to as many people as possible. And over the course of, I don't know, going back even as far as when I worked with Dave in the SCCA program back to 2000, we've been introducing new drivers to road racing and performance driving for nearly 20 years now. And it's thousands and thousands of drivers, and I couldn't be more proud of, what we've accomplished with that time.
Nice.
Both of us came from autocrossing.
Right.
Yeah. Started there, and the track got built, and there we were.
Right. Yeah, that was always the goal. Autocross is a tremendous amount of fun, and I really enjoyed my time with the SCCA, but the goal wasn't to autocross. The goal was to go road racing, and when the track finally opened, we had that up. I traveled outside the state to try to go road racing in the past, but it was much easier once it was in our backyard.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird for me to think, like, there was a time before there was a track in Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm so used to, like, I grew up with the track already built,
right.
so it's so weird.
You probably weren't even like cars probably weren't even a thought in your
Yeah.
head when that track was built.
And like by the time I were thinking about cars and watching Top Gear when I was 14 or 15, the track was already established.
Well, see,
Right.
this is what's so important, Zach. I mean, that's the key. I mean, racetracks don't build a legacy in a year,
Right.
and that's one of the things we really struggle with and combat with, even racetrack administration or people around the facility, is like they don't understand that it takes decades
Yeah.
to build what we're building.
You're building a culture around it.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
yeah,
your
right.
kids,
You
it's your
gotta-
kids'
and
kids.
You've got to look at
And it's
you know
generations.
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
tracks around the United States or even around the world and how long they've been there. I mean, Laguna Seca wasn't built in the 90s.
No.
Yeah.
Lime Rock.
Yeah,
I think
Road
George
America,
Washington
Road
built
Atlanta.
Lime Rock.
Yeah,
I
oh,
mean,
shit.
really,
generations though, and it starts, and I love it when like Chad Alders or the Waltoffs bring their kids to the racetrack and we get to hang out with those kids and see them. It's like that's so special to me because I hope that those kids one day get to enjoy the sport like their parents did and grow up with it, because I think that's what's going to create a long-lasting future for road racing in Utah as well as America. To be honest, America.
I can't count the times from 2006 till now that I've watched somebody that was a baby when I first met them at the racetrack.
Oh, that's weird.
And all of a sudden they're learning how to drive. Like their very first experience learning how to drive is in a golf cart at the racetrack or on a scooter at the racetrack.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the ones
Yeah.
that are going to keep coming back.
Yeah, that's the human interactions that happen in the facility that are not actually a part of racing,
Yeah.
but they're a byproduct of it, right? Like
Yeah,
we all
like-
interact with each other in the paddock.
Yeah, like-
talking.
Well, you're all there for the same reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's. I mean,
and it's about the people too.
Yeah.
I mean, racing is, it's fun to go out and win. It's fun to go out and have these great battles, but it's also fun to come back into the paddock right afterwards and give your friend a hard time,
Yeah.
or sit there and talk. And I mean,
I've had some really great battles in my history on racetrack, but I think maybe some of the more memorable times have been off the racetrack.
yeah, definitely.
for sure. Nice.
So yeah, that's how we all started.
All right. Well,
It's interesting that you guys started doing autocross because that's where I'm at right now. I've done probably 5 or 6 autocross.
Oh,
events now.
fantastic.
And I'm like, there's light at the end of the tunnel for me, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a terrific car control skill clinic. It teaches you so much about how to use your hands and feet in such an abbreviated period of time. I mean, I recommend it to anyone to try, especially because it's got a low barrier to entry.
Oh, yeah.
It's very affordable, considering, I mean, maybe not time per minute, dollars per minute, but it's still very affordable entry level.
yeah.
And I know for a fact, for me, I have definitely learned a lot, not only about my car, but also how about other people can drive my cars and learning from them and their experiences in those ways. And just watching other people drive too is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was definitely one of the fun things. I mean, we grew up driving race cars together. Like, I drive Dave's car, he'd drive my car. Like, that was a big part of that autocross culture, is like sharing the platform. And I think that you get so much from that. And we learned to be so much better drivers because there was 13 of us or something like that at one point that were touring around the West Coast, going to pro solos and autocrosses, and all driving each other's shit all the time. And I think that really
we drove like one of the most memorable car-related events was, I want to say it was 16 of us in 15 cars.
yeah, right.
Drove to L.A.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
We got into L.A. and like really gonna date this. It was before iPhones. It was before having navigation on your phone.
This must have been Atwater
Yep. We
Time
drove into.
before.
It was either Atwater or El Toro.
or Irvine, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we drove
Wow,
into
El
LA
Toro.
and got
Yeah, El Toro.
Wow.
into LA Friday afternoon, peak rush hour.
Ooh.
And we sat there in traffic.
We had our communicators.
Yep. We had little FRS
Right.
radios.
Nice.
And we sat there for hours and hours and hours. It was dark. Like, we got into LA and it was like
Yeah, you just
4. And it was dark before we made it the like 15 miles to the hotel. We get
I
in the
believe
hotel. We piled into one hotel room because we were all really young and really stupid.
Talk about cheap. It's
Yeah,
inexpensive.
It's the cheapest way.
Save dollars.
Funny you say that because, I mean, it's a common fact
That
that
was-
you can fit 7 people on a standard double-sized bed.
Oh no, we just everybody got the floor.
that was
It was
Say
it was
what
2
slept in
people
the
on
tub?
each mattress. Yeah, somebody slept on the mattress. Somebody was like kind of pissed off about the living arrangements, if you will, and he put the chair that was under the desk. He put that outside, and then he slept under the desk.
That was Minnie. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Micro slept in the tub. Minnie slept under the desk.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely grassroots racing at its finest, man.
Yeah.
Like we
Just
we,
doing what you got to do to
That
get
is-
out there.
Yeah,
I thought
blood,
I
sweat,
was-
and tears. Like ate, slept, and raced. That's all we did.
thought we were roughing it when we went to Race Wars and we had a whole Airbnb to ourselves. I thought that was bad.
Wow. No, my first SEMA trip was
Luxury.
like, we had 30 people. We had
Millennial.
2 hotel rooms.
Not even Gen Z.
And
I know. Sorry.
for like the last
You're a
couple
millennial.
of nights, one of the guys turned 21. So naturally, everybody went and just bought a ton of alcohol, and somebody smashed a bottle right where I was, like, where I had my bedroll and everything.
You had to sleep in the wet spot, didn't you?
I
The wet and bloody spot.
I bravely kicked the birthday boy out of his spot. So I'm like, no, son. No, you're a mess now.
You exerted dominance.
You're not going to remember tomorrow.
I established
Sleep on the floor.
myself.
You have asserted that you are top dog.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, no, that was first SEMA experience. Just like 30 people, 2 rooms.
Yeah, it's
2
brutal.
people who were dating on the drive down, and then on the drive back were no longer.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic! That sounds like
Did they
some
take
empty
separate
people shit right
cars,
there.
or did you make them ride together on the way back?
Oh, they ended up in separate cars.
That's too bad.
Epic.
It was
Epic.
it was such a weird trip. That's so great, and that's
I think everybody's got to do one of those trips to SEMA.
yeah. Like everybody has to do
You have
one of
to.
those trips to whatever it is you're
SEMA.
passionate about. I mean, well, SEMA or
I'm excited
like
for this year.
God, it's
gonna
going
be a
to
good time.
It's going to be interesting for you,
We're
son.
going to break you, boy.
Oh,
Yep. Unfortunately, tonight
please send help.
they can't help you. They cannot help you.
Take me with you.
No,
I'm not
taking-
going to SEMA.
No.
Too old for that shit.
I'm getting
Maybe
there.
PRI.
Yep.
I'm in on that.
There we
I'm
go.
So down on that.
I'm down for Indy in the winter.
I mean, I'll go to all of it. I don't give a shit.
That's the attitude.
I like it.
Okay, I
just
was
wanna be
really
in it.
excited, and then somebody
Just wanna
said
be in it.
Indy in the winter.
You're
Yeah.
right, Buzzkill.
I mean, as
Oh,
long as
my
I'm
God. I'm
inside,
sorry.
I think I'm okay with it. I don't want to be in Indiana, period.
Listen,
Yeah,
But if I'm
nobody
going to
does.
be there, I want to be inside a convention center with a bunch of other people not from Indy.
so we can go find Robin Miller and get trash and talk shit about people.
No, I mean,
Who?
Robin Miller, he's a longtime
all you had
writer.
to do was say, talk shit about people. I'm there.
But come on, we got a long storied writer who has stories about everybody and everything. The guy. Anyway, so
If you insist.
I,
You're s-
my God in heaven. Anyway, so like it is kind of. I mean, you've been doing this for quite a while, and now for like a typical race weekend, like what is that like for you guys? Because Matt, I rarely see you. Like, I have to run into you just by happenstance. Dave, I always end up seeing you because, you know.
He's generally in a bit more predictable areas. He's in the control tower, kind of overseeing, making sure people are behaving. Well, first off, I'd probably like to say that a race weekend consists of, 36 hours right off the bat? Friday through the end of Sunday.
It's 72 hours. That's
Just saying, on the clock, basically, like we roll in Friday morning, things start early, we're busting ass, and then we don't finish till the sun goes down. So to start off, they're long weekends and a lot of fun. And then Dave does a lot of the preemptive strike. Basically, he's kind of organizing and arranging a lot of the contractual agreements leading into the weekend, making sure our insurance sanctions are all up to snuff, and that
logistics.
Yeah, logistics is a great way to summarize it. But the boring stuff, he's making sure that we have all of our I's dotted and our T's crossed. Start of Friday is a practice day. A lot of people don't necessarily understand what that means, but Friday is just literally track time. It's just practice. It's open track. It's for all the different groups. With the exception of HPD1, I can't really bring instructors out on a Friday because they all have day jobs. But for the most part, Friday's going to be your intermediate and advanced road racers, time travelers, all practicing and just getting track time, getting ready for the weekend. And we're one of the only regions, I think, in the U.S. that gets to do that. Like we've been able to make that successful in the past. Yeah, you won't find practice days in any other NASA region. So we're.
I think last year, which was the last time I checked, there was only 2 other regions that did Friday, and one of them was having a really hard time justifying it. There's a lot of other regions that the track puts on an open track day.
Right.
On a track-by-track basis. High Plains has one.
It's a strange club day.
It scared the crap out of me because I rolled up to a gate and the guy asked me if I was there for the NASA weekend. This is Friday morning. And I said yes. And he had me sign a waiver and gave me a wristband. And at that point, I could have driven out on track all day Friday.
Oh.
Without checking into anything. I just was through the gate and I had a wristband, so I was allowed on track.
HPR is funny that way.
Yeah, it was eye-opening to me.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a funny story about that as well. Like, I went out to HPR one year with Todd and Alex to do a 6-hour endurance race, and we rolled out for our 6-hour endurance race, which started Friday at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
We didn't think anything of it. We were like, bitching, 6-hour endurance race. And I line up, and I see some street cars on the grid, like, along with a couple of race cars. I'm like, that's kind of weird, whatever. And we take off, and sure as shit, like, second lap, this Corvette street car comes flying past me on the back straightaway. He looks over, waves, and he's got, like, a Letterman jacket on and, like, a regular seatbelt. And I'm like, what's going on here? I'm literally in a 3-cars raft on the back straight. Yeah. And a guy in a street car, Corvette, is, like, waving at me as he goes by. And I'm like, this is, and so what they do is they do sort of an open track day format. Like, it's strange because in order to save a few bucks, like NASA sort of breaks off some of this, like, think of it as a sports club program. So there's sports club runs on Fridays. And so they sort of break off the sort of sports club track time and like host a mini endurance race in it. And it was not really that exciting for me ultimately as a racer because I wanted to be out racing, and I felt like I had to hold back a little bit when I'm going to the corner with a Corvette C5 parking me in the braking zone.
Yeah, just some dude out there just having a grand old time.
Yeah, he was stoked. I'm on the track with race cars.
Oh, man.
You're going to die, son. So,
man, they got to remember that class ring cowboy hat real fondly.
Yeah, so the NASA weekends, like I said, start off with Dave doing a lot of logistics. I'm doing a lot of communications with customers. A big part of my responsibility is to make sure people are informed and understand what they need to do, where they need to be, and when they need to be there. And then Saturday morning, so Friday's all practice, and it's pretty casual, which we really enjoy. It's one of the few days of the weekend we get to relax. And then Saturday is the beginning of the race weekend for us, so we take things a little bit more formally. We make sure everyone's, again, where they need to be, when they need to be there. That's a big part of it.
One thing that got glossed over Friday morning is registration and check-in. Cherie, Kate, whoever else happens to show up Fridays.
We recruit a lot of volunteers sometime.
But Cherie and Kate are always there on Fridays, checking people in, letting new people sign up if they didn't get in before the weekend closed. And then the same with Saturday morning. Saturday is usually pretty crazy. Because that's everybody's got to show up and get checked in. They all come through our office.
Well, registration opens at 7 a.m., and we've got to get 150 drivers checked in, and we go hot at 8 o'clock.
Ooh, yeah.
Plus, we have meetings in there and techs running. So it's crazy how much and how efficiently we get things done with this little overhead and personnel as we do have. Like, technically, we have about 4 to 6 people sort of on staff that we're paying to run the administration team, like me and Dave and Cherie and Kate and the others that help us.
And Robin and Kristen.
So it's a lot of work, but I think a lot of it comes down to people know what they're supposed to do. That's a huge part of it. Like, we expect a lot of our racers ultimately, right? Like, if you've made it through our program for 2 years and you still don't know what you're doing, then you probably aren't doing what you need to be doing. And I'm failing teaching you what to do, and you're failing learning as a student. So typically by the time you get to those intermediate and advanced levels, you sort of know the drill. And I mentioned previously, a big part of our program is consistency. So we run a really similar format. You know, our days are all about the same.
Yeah.
You know, cars start driving at 8 o'clock, and it goes in groups throughout the day. You rotate through your groups. You know, your group comes up first, second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever, and then it goes back into rotation. So after your session's over, you go to report to a meeting, you get the debrief, and then your session comes up again in about an hour and 20 minutes. Enough time for you to get a drink, work on the car a little bit, get ready for your next session. So consistency is key. Everyone knows what they're supposed to do, and that's why it kind of ends up being a well-oiled machine. Then our Saturday hosts is probably the most drivers. It's definitely our biggest day.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, you know, Friday and Sunday are I don't know if I'd call them lost leaders, but they're great. They're just not quite as successful as our Saturdays are, and that's a Utah thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and
that is 1,000% a Utah thing.
we have drivers come in from out of state that ask us why we don't do trophy ceremony Sunday. And we're like, how many cars were you driving around? It's
that's.
So we'd like Sunday to be big. I mean, I believe I grew up in an era of race on Sunday, sell on Monday. That was the big adage, you know, and it's one that I still want to believe in today. But you know, we're working towards it, and we've definitely seen a growth in our program, and especially a growth on even our Sunday participation, and I'm really excited about that. So, but yeah. we post our schedules up generally the week in advance. We'd like to do a little bit earlier, but because people tend to be a little bit slow to sign up for registration, it takes us a few extra days maybe to get a schedule put together because we want to balance the groups as best we can. One of our objectives is to always produce the best quality track time we can for the dollars you spend. So that means sometimes if there's 5 cars in your class, you might get bumped to another group in order to balance that out. And sometimes that isn't awesome because you may want to be in the front of the slow group per se versus the back of the fast group.
Yeah.
But it's just about making sure everyone has as close to equal number of cars in the group as possible, so traffic is relatively minimum with respect to lap speed differential. It's a crazy orchestra we play sometimes.
Oh, yes.
So I was wondering, like, someone who isn't very familiar with NASA, and I think we might have some viewers who are the same, like, what does it cost from right now? If I wanted to go, let's say, race this weekend, or not the weekend, but this upcoming event, what does it cost me?
That's a great question. So NASA HPDE is where you'd start, and that's our high-performance driving event. And basically that consists of your experience to be the first day on track with a instructor in your car. We actually give you your own private driving coach. It's the same guy or gal throughout the day. We have the most talented drivers in Utah.
I've talked to some of them. They seem to be very, very well.
They're fantastic. Yeah. They're hand-picked. Like I basically look at the personalities of the cars coming in and the people that are coming in, and I try to find the driver or the instructor that might best suit them. Anyway, starts there. It's $229 for the day, and that's going to get you 4 sessions of approximately 20 minutes. We try to give you as much track time as we can. Oftentimes it's a few more minutes than 20 per session. But it does depend on the schedule and how many people are signed up. If it's a light day, you'll get a little more track time. So that's what you'll experience. You show up at about 7:30, get signed in with Cherie and Kate at the office, and then proceed to unload your car, get ready, tire pressures, all that stuff, and then head up to a meeting.
So as someone for me, I think maybe one of the daunting things is what kind of things do I need to prep for my car? Do I need roll cages? Do I need fire suits? Of course, I need a helmet, but...
Mm-hmm. Also good questions.
It's really easy. Almost any street car that would have passed a safety like a proper safety inspection is eligible. Convertibles are a gray area depending upon the car. That's something right on our website. There's a link to reach out to Matt and find out. But outside of convertibles, almost any street car, you don't need any special equipment. You do want to make sure you have good, decent tires. Like, don't show up with your tires on cords. Make sure you have brake pads. They don't have to be super fancy brake pads. They don't have to be brand new, but don't show up with it squeaking as you pull into the paddock.
I feel like people need to come in with the knowledge and the thought that you're going to be pushing these cars to the limits. Yeah. You shouldn't show up with Sears ceramics and like mileage maker tires on these things.
HPDE one, you can.
Yeah,
and let me color that.
It really is. I mean, you're not going to be going. I mean, you'll be going quickly, but HPDE one is learning the safety, learning the track.
Okay, that's fair. I guess where I was going with that is you want to make sure your car is ready to be driven.
Yeah, you don't want to, like I said, don't show up with 10 miles of tire before you go to the cords.
I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think I could draw a couple analogies. Basically, I think my first track day on UMC ever, I showed up. I had an SR20 powered Nissan 240 SX. It was fantastic.
I'm not hating. I'm an S14 owner, so I understand.
And I showed up on my all season tires and my AutoZone brake pads, and I drove the beans out of the car. Had a great time, great experience. But I literally showed up with tires at 75% on them and brand new AutoZone brake pads. I went home on the backing plates and corded tires.
Nice.
So that's just to say that that's how much equipment I chose to use that day. And of course, as a new driver, I was overdriving. I was using too much brake pressure. I was just adding too much wheel angle everywhere. I was ruining my car as best I could.
He was autocrossing on the racetrack.
Exactly, because I was an autocrosser.
Fair. Yeah.
Way overly aggressive. Very, very jerky movements.
Yeah.
It's the one thing we see from autocrossers usually.
Yeah,
it takes teaching an autocrosser to drive on the track is about teaching them to slow down and be smoother.
It's about fluid motion, not getting through the cones as fast as possible.
Teaching almost anybody else, it's about teaching them aggression.
limits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
and
you
working
got to
up
tell
to the limit.
autocrossers to throttle back.
Right.
Throttle back and smoother inputs. It's really two completely different sides when they show up.
And I could make this, using the autocross skills, I could make the same lap time as a more experienced driver could, but I'm using twice as much equipment.
Yeah,
That's
Just
fair.
wearing stuff
fair.
out crazy. My first day was a lapping days event.
Bob Reed.
I showed up and was given. It was their first event they ever did
In Utah.
in
Because
Utah.
they did spring.
Yep, they did some at down in Vegas. And I showed up in an E90 on
Oh, I
run
like that.
flats and with the factory brake pads.
I might have photos of that.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I think I have one picture of that car. Miss it. But I showed up. I went out with an instructor who had never been on the track before, which wasn't unheard of that first
Early
couple
days.
of years.
Early days.
Sure.
Yeah. By the end of the first session, I was questioning his line, just from my knowledge of where you should put a car.
Well, because you'd had 8 years of experience leading up
Yeah.
to this.
But as the day went on, I started to learn that, oh, you're right. This isn't 3 turns. This is one big flowy turn. You just sail the West 7.
Sure.
You just kind of sail your car through there. I definitely overdrove. I also went home on the backing plates. But BMW warranty.
There you
was
go.
Awesome. But I mean, that was my first day. Was wearing out some run flats and some brake pads too. So
Yeah, so the point is, like, yes, what kind of equipment do you need? Really, just a standard street car is sufficient. A helmet is definitely recommended. We have some loaner helmets as well that we can rent.
the helmet's got to be Snell rated.
Right.
SA
This is-
2015, right?
No, it's
No.
SA 2005.
5. Yes.
Okay.
So like an old
I know
motorcycle helmet.
A
You
lot
can-
of the drift guys. Well, starting this season, we're requiring SA 2015s. So,
so there's a
I
difference
feel
between
like
competition and HPDE. So
Okay,
if they're
makes
viewing
sense. Makes
drifting
sense.
as competition, they will
No,
require.
they're requiring it all.
We're-
I've been following it.
yeah, we're trying to go above and beyond.
Good. You should.
so that
Yeah.
it can trickle down.
I've seen some of the silly helmets they were wearing at events, and I
We
think it's
used to
time get-
require. We used to be okay with DOT, and then we said MDOT was okay, and now we're like, okay, well, as of last season, we said, okay, well, SA 2005 was okay.
and they've come down so much in price.
They really have.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get a halfway decent. I mean, okay, you can get a real cheapo flat black Conqueror helmet for $130.
Right.
Yep.
SA 2015.
But it's
and that's
SA
fine.
rated.
Yeah, it's an SA 2015, so you're good. You know, you're not going to cream your melon into 30 pieces. But I mean, safety's
it's
also
better
not
than
something
the
you want to
batting
skip
helmet
on.
I saw 2 years ago
Oh,
at a
God.
drift event.
Oh,
That's sort of where I was
God.
going with that. So not to point any fingers at drifting. So the safety equipment is very modest, basically. Like I
Okay.
said, just closed-toed shoes like your regular clothes. You don't need a roll cage. Certain convertibles need to check with me first because it's easier
So
than
you're saying
So
my
far, this is
Mustang-
really sounding exactly like how we've got our drifting
you will
structure.
find very strong similarities in almost all of the sanctioning
I imagine we are
organizations.
taking a strong amount of
Yeah, there's a
cues
strong
from
precedent
NASA.
that's been set from
Absolutely.
us and from even those before us.
Right.
So
I am-
we're not reinventing the wheel. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm
Zach.
hearing that my Mustang might not be.
What are we driving?
track-worthy.
We need to put a roll cage in that Mustang.
Roll
okay?
bar.
It's a convertible, right?
It's a '93 Fox body.
Yep.
Convertible?
It's going to need a roll bar.
Boy, howdy, is it ever?
Wait.
Yeah.
Sorry, no one's confirmed. Is it?
It is a convertible.
Yeah,
Convertible,
sorry, you're
yes,
out of
it
luck.
is convertible. Yeah.
Yeah,
Out of luck.
and it needs all it needs is a roll bar, but it does need cross bracing.
Right, there are
There's
some
some-
stipulations about roll bars because there's pretty bars out there that are just not very functional.
Yeah, you got style bars on Miatas
Right.
and such
Yeah,
that
yeah.
don't cut it.
Gotta pay attention.
Mustangs were notorious for doing the wing bar.
The little style bar that fits underneath the the convertible top; those don't fly.
Nope.
They're
That's
really,
why-
they're shitty metal covered with plastic. I
I
understand
didn't even know there was
completely.
metal
So
in there. I
There
thought
is
they were
metal
just
in there.
plastic.
There is metal in there.
Yeah.
It's just really flimsy.
That's why it's much easier just to tell people if you have a convertible and you want to go on the racetrack, just contact me and we'll explore
Yep.
it versus trying to explain the ins and outs because it's tedious and boring.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it's probably different for every application.
Yep.
Within reason. I mean,
Sure.
there's probably
You'll mostly
certain
find that
formats.
it's the domestics that
Yeah.
fail. The domestics and the oddballs. Well, not the oddball, but the
And the
retarded
Miata.
For some reason, the most popular track car of all time has no sufficient rollover protection.
Huh.
So
Funny how that works.
it's
All
annoying. So
European cars, almost exclusively back to the late 80s,
all good.
are all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you see the E36 and like, that doesn't have rollover protection. Oh, yeah? Watch it roll.
Okay.
The explosive bars.
Yeah, the little
Violent
bars that
explosive
pop up
bars.
to the back. Yeah, they're great.
And what it really comes down to be honest, it's an insurance thing. If the factory manual says it's rollover protection, then it's, as far as we're concerned, it's fine. But you'll find that all the ones that they decline rollover protection, the factory does not call it. They say we have reinforced, roll structures, but they're not rollover. They won't call it rollover protection.
Right.
They explicitly will avoid that verbiage.
I want to find those manuals now and read this because it has to be hilarious.
Well, if you know what you're looking for, it is amusing, yes.
Yeah.
So barrier to entry, we try to keep it as low as possible. That's the goal because, again, the key to getting on track is getting on track. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've had conversations with. Well, as soon as I get my car done, I'm like, I don't understand what you're talking about. Like, what do you mean car done?
We hear that a lot in the
There is no
drifting
car
area,
done,
too.
right?
That's
Really.
Soon
There are
as I build
builders
my-
and there are drivers.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
you're catering to the drivers.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the drivers that are also builders.
And our program is survival, and much like drift is based on participation.
Right.
And the guy that's on the bench always saying, "Well, I got to get that new intercooler, and I got to get this new spark plug thing or whatever." This
It's no
strut
fun.
brace.
It's no fun driving the catalog.
Yeah. The catalog cars, they just never end up making it. And I can't tell you how many stories I've heard over and over again of like, it's a built motor detuned so that it doesn't ever blow up, and that shit still blows up. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, son, tuning doesn't fix anything. Like it's going to blow up one way or the other. So don't spend. I have a adage, and every single person that goes through the HPD program knows this now. I basically say, don't break the seal. The most successful drivers are the ones that are on track. And when I say don't break the seal, that means your bone stock, I don't care if it's a WRX. I mean, they're not the best choice for road racing. But if you don't mess with the thing, if you just put race tires and brake pads on the thing, it'll be a champ. And you can ask, like, Jamie Moreno, for example.
Exactly.
She's
She
achieved a
she
great
ran
deal
it for
of success.
how long? Yeah.
Many years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she didn't fall victim to, like, big turbos, injectors, exhaust. I mean,
Right.
she did the bare minimum, and she focused on track time, and she became a better driver for it. So,
Yeah. And like Scott Chamberlain, that clapped out BMW of his.
terrific growth. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't really say it's clapped out per se. I mean, it just looks a little rough.
He'll
around
tell
the
you it
edges.
is.
He'll say that, but we all know better.
I've driven it on the track.
Yeah, it's not bad.
But you
It's
didn't
not
fit.
good
You
little
didn't
car.
fit in the seat.
No, I didn't. But
It's a
still
good
not.
car.
It's a great car. Like, and it's just.
And that's another thing that's important, actually, now
Yeah.
you mention it. So talking about cars, people say, what kind of car should I get? And they're thinking in their mind, 2016 Camaro SS. Oh,
Yeah.
great car, but boy, you're going to shell out a lot of money on that. But,
Like-
we're talking about a $3,000 BMW for Mr. Chamberlain. And
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Scott, I don't mean to tell people how much your car costs, but I'm just saying in general,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not a
it's-
terribly expensive car.
It's a
think we would want to say it.
325. It's
Yeah.
a Miata
Well-
with a roll bar.
And
Yeah.
that's exactly the thing is, and when we say the same thing in drifting, it's if you want to know what to get out on track and actually go out and drive, look at what's most common in the
Sure.
pit
Yeah.
and go drive that.
and then get out on track.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
I mean,
350Z.
to be fair,
yeah,
that's probably
that's-
not a horrendous choice.
No.
You
No,
could
it's a great
definitely
car.
be worse off. I mean,
Right.
they're Spec Z for a reason.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I
It's
want-
affordable as far as cars goes
God, you-
for the performance bar. It's
You
very
can get
low.
one of those cars for $6,000, throw brake pads on it, and be ready to go
That's all you
tomorrow.
need to do.
It's less
And that's it.
embarrassing than telling the girl at the bar that you
Race
race a
a Miata.
Miata.
Yeah. That one doesn't go down well.
I mean, what
No.
if you want to tell the guy at the bar that you're racing Miata?
Well, okay. Fair point.
It works both ways? Question mark.
I don't know.
I have worked on so many goddamn Miatas in the last 3 weeks. I don't even want to think about it right now.
All the Miatas.
And they're all track cars actually coming out this season. So
Oh, terrific.
Wonderful.
Nice. So I definitely want to emphasize to all the listeners that you can get started on your road racing career. You can achieve the level of driving that you want. Some drivers don't want to go road racing and get a competition wheel-to-wheel license. They want to
they
settle
just-
into a comfortable place with their nice street car. They want to drive their BMW M3, M4, whatever,
Yeah.
on track at a high speed with drivers that are comparable, competent, and they're comfortable around. And other drivers have a competitive edge, and they realize pretty quickly that it's not a great idea for me to be campaigning my 2017 911 Turbo because it just costs too much money. I should probably start changing direction at some point and focus on maybe a competition car that's dedicated for this purpose. But the equipment levels to begin with, your first day out, street tires, street brake pads is fine. I'll try to guide you in another direction as time goes on. If you come out to your third and fourth track day, you're going to start needing some real brake pads because unfortunately your AutoZone brake pads will no longer be sufficient.
If you've got a big speaker box, it's so much easier to take out at home
Yeah.
Please take
I can
that
only
out.
imagine how many pit spaces are filled with spare tires and tools and
Oh, yeah,
subwoofers
that's-
and
I'm
passenger
not,
seats.
Yeah, you can leave your passengers. You have to leave your passenger.
I mean,
seat
right?
in.
You have to have an instructor.
Right. But you'll see
right.
the HPD 2 and 3 guys pull their passenger seats out, and it does amuse me.
Yep.
Because they're losing. The downside is like you'll get more time on track. You'll get better improved lap times by finding an instructor and sticking him in the right seat than you will by pulling the right seat out.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll gain seconds by having someone tell you, "No, idiot, what are you doing? Get off
Yeah.
the brakes. Turn
Right.
in now. Get back on the
Right.
gas." Versus like, "Oh, I just lost 17 pounds. Hell yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaker box, if it is not bolted down hard, leave it at home. That's the one thing that like once a year I see it, where you've got some guy that spends like half of the day to unwire his speaker box.
Yeah.
Check your battery tie down at home.
Used to be you.
Please just pop the hood, pop the trunk wherever your battery is, and make sure your battery is solid. Make sure
Tape over the battery contact to the positive
Yep.
terminal. Just tape over it.
Yep, just tape over it if it doesn't already have a cover on it.
Does ratchet strap down batteries work?
No.
no, ratchet straps never count for
No.
anything
Okay,
ever.
I have passed
Oh my
every
God.
autocross tech.
Really?
So,
so
I mean,
somebody's not doing their job.
No, they popped their hood. I like.
No,
well,
somebody is not doing
in my
their job. If a
Subaru-
ratchet strap is involved anywhere in the car, somebody's not doing
my
their job.
Subaru, you can lift the front end of the vehicle with the battery.
for what it's worth, there was a time when that probably wouldn't have passed tech, but times being what they are, everybody wants to get a few customers, so I understand. And
Yeah.
usually it's an advisory, get this fixed.
Yeah.
I've always
God, no, we
Zach,
we put
get
people
that
on the
fixed.
we put people on the trailer at drift events if
should.
they've got that shit.
I
like
absolutely
we
should.
can't. I mean, we've s-
A tie down
Not-
Zack is like $15.
Yeah.
So you could just
we
do
we
it.
actually we have like I think 7 or 8 universal battery tie downs
Oh, nice.
in
Right.
in the truck. Like the
Thinking
organizer,
ahead.
yeah. Jordan has them in his truck,
Super
so where it's
considerate.
like
That's cool.
if you show up and you don't
Maybe you
have a
could
battery tie down,
Help Zack out.
$45.
I mean, I'm gonna sell him a battery tie down for probably $1 less than an actual ratchet strap costs.
So here's what
So-
I do. At Chuck Walla, when I go there in the off season to race motorcycles, and we have to have a fire extinguisher in the pit.
Mm-hmm.
And they have this clever thing where they say basically up until a certain point, they're like basically Saturday morning
Mm-hmm.
at 9 o'clock when we go hot, you need to present a fire extinguisher. We sell them. They're $20. You can get them in the office. If after 9 o'clock on Saturday comes by and I don't see a fire extinguisher, they're now $75. And there's and I think it's a $75 fine, and it comes with a free fire extinguisher, is what they say.
Nice.
Quality
So I
work.
mean, you basically say, look, if you don't have this thing
Right.
tied down, I'm going to give you a couple hours to get this thing tied down. But if it isn't tied down, you're going to get a free tie down. But it's going to
cost you $100. Yeah, exactly, and that's probably something we'll end up doing too. But yeah.
Well, so again,
Grab your wheels, grab the top of the wheel, and make sure that
oh yeah, God,
everything's
make sure
tight.
nothing's loose.
yeah,
I mean, holy
make sure your
hell.
hubs are good.
you got to work with a lot different cars than we typically do. I mean, there was a time
Yes.
when we were working with a lot of those kinds of cars, but fortunately, we've got to get away from it a
Oh,
little bit.
I imagine a lot of the cars that you guys deal with are higher quality.
they're in a little bit better
Dare I
state of
say?
repair.
Yeah. Better.
Not
state of
always.
repair.
Not always,
Not
but I
always.
think in general, on average, like they are.
Probably
So-
got the higher overall number.
We don't have to look at a 2016 Camaro very hard, right?
would
I just check
hope
the brake
not.
pressure pedal. I make sure the battery's tied down. Send the thing on its way.
Got a car
Guy
that still
shows
has a
up.
warranty.
Yeah, the guy shows up in a 1978 Capri. We're going to give it the once over. I'm going to pay a lot more attention. Look at the wheels.
Sure.
Check the brake pads. look
Sure.
at- so it
Make
does,
sure the cookie sheet holding all the oil off the track is zip tied up.
they
nice.
call that an oil pan.
Yeah.
I remember that too. I raced with a turkey pan in the bottom of my fairings once.
What?
First time I ever raced a
People
motorcycle.
think I'm fucking joking.
Yeah, first
when
time
I
I-
say
this
shit
is a-
like this,
this
I'm
is a-
not.
This is on a motorcycle, though.
I love it.
yeah, the
Even
very first
worse.
time.
Well, I mean,
did a
you
track day.
definitely don't want to oil that back tire,
No,
so of
definitely
course
not.
you want to put a pan under there.
Yeah, I did a track day, and they're like, "Hey, you're doing pretty good. You want to come race?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I want to race." They're like, "Cool. See you this weekend," or something to that effect, right?
Nice. Yeah.
Make sure you have a turkey pan on the bottom of your fairings. I'm like, "What? What do you mean?" I have this YZF 600R, and it has an open at the bottom for the water to drain out. I'm like, "Just shove a turkey. Go to the grocery store, shove a $6 turkey pan in there." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I have a picture to this day of me like running around a corner like full lean angle and everything, and then a stupid ass like aluminum tinfoil panel wadded up and shoved up in the fairings. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm racing motorcycles. This is vegging.
That's perfect.
Look at me,
Man,
It's terrible. Amazing. I had a suit on, I think, that I had borrowed from someone else because, again, the community was really opening. Like, I'll lend you a suit. You can come race this weekend. And, like, the suit was ripped open because it had been crashed a bunch of times. I'm like, oh, that's not a problem. He got some safety wire, and he, like, starts sewing this suit back together for me. So I had, like, Mad Max with this, like, safety wire bundled up shoulder and everything.
It's amazing.
And I was a dumb kid. I'm like, hell yeah. This is bitching.
we're doing motorcycle racing.
Yeah, I'm a racer.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah. The
oh, that's how the fire's lit, though, right?
Yeah, it worked.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
It just takes once.
Yeah.
So,
The first one's not
agreed.
free, but it's definitely cheaper.
we
I could have worse habits.
Right.
I could definitely have worse habits. More expensive
I can
habits.
talk about that too a little bit later. It's interesting. There's a really interesting phenomenon in my experience in motorsports, but maybe I'll circle back to that. So I think just to touch on the keynotes, like basically NASAUtah.com, to throw that back out there. If you haven't heard of us, please look us up. Take some time out of your day. If you care about cars, come to an event. Watch us. It's free to come and spectate. Meet some of our drivers. I mean, we have on any given weekend 100 of the most enthusiastic drivers and racers of all time, and some of the most exciting racing you're ever going to find in Utah. So
Bring your friends. Bring your kids.
I do. This season, I'm going to try and focus on definitely coming out and at least being around it.
Yeah, and if you
taking
can only
pictures and stuff.
If you can only come for a little bit of time, I recommend, as always, come out on a Saturday about noon. Like maybe bring a lunch with you, watch a couple of hours of different groups. You're going to see the HPDE go out there. You're going to see time trial, which is very exciting. You're going to see our road race groups go out.
Oh, yeah.
And then we also host a barbecue that we really try to invite everybody to, just to kind of introduce them to the community, where we hand out awards and like celebrate the victories and triumphs of our drivers. So at the end of the day, we wrap up with awards and barbecue. So if you got time, come and have a beer with us and celebrate the drivers' victories.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So we try to make it open to all.
Very cool. I dig it.
All right. Well, in the interest of making this not a 2-hour episode, because we could keep just going on.
Oh, God, yeah, we could go all night.
I've been talking about this for 20 years, so I got some footage here. I mean,
I'm
Don't
sure.
worry. Special
get some
Friday
miles out of
episode.
this.
Yeah.
I mean, we can definitely bring you guys back for more story time with Matt and Dave.
Can we
enough.
record that on Wednesday? I got shit to do.
Yeah.
No, we got a lot of questions for you guys from the fans. First, I want to start
Fans
off.
or customers?
Both.
Yeah.
So we have one fella who made a series of bad decisions and is making another one, Austin Kent. Yeah.
Like I said, customers.
Yeah, there
Two
you
race
go.
cars.
He has an agenda. His questions are very pointed.
Yep. So, questions for Matt and Dave. What, if anything, have you heard from my time about improvements/changes to UMC, good, bad, or indifferent?
Oh, that's a very good question.
Yeah. Yes, despite
Not
what he
even-
looks like.
Not
he's
Spec Miata or TT3 related. Interesting. I was expecting horsepower dynograph questions. So what have we heard? Honestly, it's kind of been a bit of a holding pattern. Obviously, it has been for years now. But their story hasn't necessarily changed. They're really a bit vague and dodgy when it comes down to like trying to pin them down on what's the future represent. All they say is like, well, we're just getting the hang of everything. They've been running it for nearly 3 years now, or just over 3 years, but their argument is still like, well, we just barely got ownership of it, so we're just figuring things out now. So to be completely honest, we haven't got a lot out of them. But to be fair, on their part, I haven't pressed much, and I don't know that Dave has either. Because after hearing the same campaign for the last 3 years, it's really hard to be motivated and excited to continue pressing. It's not. I mean, the future rests on it. Don't get us wrong.
Yeah.
Like, we absolutely are planning on being there for the indefinite amount of time. But you get tired of asking the same questions and getting the same answers over and over, and they're incredibly vague and they lack direction.
Well,
We'd like to hear more.
well,
And a lot of them aren't necessarily in line with what we're trying to accomplish. For example, we really want to build motorsports in Utah. We want to build our club racing program. We feel like that's where it all starts.
Yeah.
We don't care so much about some of the other programs they want to bring on, flying cars or whatever that thing was. And
yeah, that was weird.
The flying car company is owned by Geely.
Okay.
That's why it showed up.
yeah, no interest whatsoever.
The Lantern Fest.
Zero interest.
They see, and I mean it's. You look at Coda, and Coda is now a concert venue.
Yep.
Looking at ways to generate revenue, which I can respect.
Yeah,
It's just-
yeah.
It's not my agenda.
So they're looking. I've heard vague rumors of looking to do concerts at the venue. I know
Which they've done in the past.
Yeah,
and they haven't done well.
They haven't
historically.
They did one that did pretty okay.
Country Fest was good.
No, they did the first year World Superbike. They had like Journey and a whole bunch of those level bands.
Just like
And we actually watched as people were leaving at the end of World Superbike. The parking lot was also filling up for people that were just coming out for the concert.
For the event only. Right. So that's where you kind of start to see the divestment a little bit. Like, we want motorsports. It's a racetrack. It should be racing. I don't care about Lantern Fest. Now, don't get me wrong. When they first promoted that, I was kind of excited because I'm like, oh, here's a chance to be in front of 15,000 people. We can show them what we do, and that's what we wanted, right?
But
that opportunity was totally null and void.
Yeah,
there was no chance.
Those people show up at 6:30 when the track's cold.
Yeah.
And even if they wanted to come over, it was kind of not encouraged, and so it was really hard to campaign or show off like what we're promoting to that audience. So, and even though it's a demographic that we'd love to target, it just wasn't really feasible. So historically, all of the agendas that they're trying to accomplish generally aren't the same as ours.
But at the end of the day, if the facility makes money,
that's good.
Hopefully motorsports is still part of the facility.
Yeah. It's not just some weird event space, concert venue, whatever. Oh, we got a couple more from Austin.
So I didn't really answer his question, but no, I don't have a real solid idea of what the future is. Kind of par. What is it? Stay the course?
Yeah,
I think is the best way to describe it. Like, we're going to continue giving their money. They're going to continue to give us track time, and we'll continue to offer our product.
I hear they just rented a garage in the 10 building to a group of Spec Miata racers, though.
Oh my, that's cool.
It's Austin's new garage.
He
and Jay,
really,
and Andy, I think.
Good for them. I'm excited to hear that.
Yeah,
I'll make sure to go over to there and rev my engine.
There
it's,
you go.
10:09 for anybody interested.
10:09. All right. What advice do you have for someone's rookie year in race group?
Don't crash.
Embrace the stripe.
Embrace the stripe. That's a great way to put it. Don't overthink the stripe either. So rookies are on a provisional license for their first 4 races. And then they're considered a rookie for the next 4 as well. When they're on their provisional license, they can't. This is just informational for everybody. While they're on their provisional license, so their first 4 races is 0 contact. It is 0 anything. It's a lot more controlled, a lot more harsh penalties, and can extend your provisional license for quite a while.
Well, it can extend or nullify it.
Right. So one thing that I've seen, though, is people overthinking that. And they overthink that and start becoming unpredictable on track because they're trying to avoid everything. And all of a sudden, they're avoiding everything, but also getting in everybody's way, or just not being where they're expected to be. And sometimes that leads to them getting hit, even in minor little ways, but there's contact.
A good example of that might be you'll see 2 cars headed down the front straight, and the provisional says, oh, I see a car that's going to overtake, so I'm going to go to the very far right side of the track and let them have the inside lane on the left-hand side of the track. Well, now you position 2 cars that are so far apart from each other that the only thing they can do is come at each other at a fairly radical tangent.
Yeah.
Right? They're now both going 2 different directions. And at that point, things are really unpredictable. It's hard to avoid. It's hard to change direction.
If either of them run into even just the tiniest little bit of, I hit the brakes and it turned my car a little, or there's gravel, instead of being side by side and very predictable, they're, like Matt said, completely different tangents.
Yeah. And the overtaking cars just thinking, what the hell is that guy doing?
Yeah.
And so they're already off their pace and they miss their brake marker by a smidge because there's no reason for that dude to be out in the marbles. I'm afraid. So honestly, just put your head down, be predictable, stay out of trouble. Even if it means that I'm going to take 9th place instead of 8th place, that's fine. I'm willing to yield a position. I'm just going to follow this guy around and see what he has to show me for the next 6 laps or something like that. So my best advice, like Dave said, is don't overthink it. Just put your head down, keep it clean, and do your best to, honestly, talk to the other racers. The most important thing you can do in a race group is know your other racers. I always try to tell drivers that come up as they're going through the HPD program saying, well, what car should I race? They always look at all the classes like, Spec C, there's 20 of them out there. What should I race? And so I think what I try to tell them is, well, just go talk to some of these dudes and dudettes and get to know them and figure out who you want to race.
Yeah.
Because it comes down to, it's not just about the car, it's about the experience. And if you're around people you like racing, you're going to enjoy that experience a lot more. So
It's a lot more fun when you're with people that you enjoy being with.
talk to them. Yeah, give them a high five at the end of a race. Tell them thanks for showing you a new trick or two, and you know, just like live in the glory of the moment. Really.
Yeah.
You're a race car driver. How bad is it?
Yeah.
Right.
There are far worse things to be doing. And then let's see, last one. Not a question, but a statement. You both have beautiful E36 M3s. Please drive them more.
That's depressing.
Valid point for me and depressing for Matt. I saw his. His is way nicer than mine.
Yeah.
I mean, let's see. And then from Instagram, Vincent Robert Meyer, why are Spec Z drivers so bitchin'?
I think I handled this one, didn't I? I
Yes,
think
you
I covered
did.
this.
You did. You said because they're icy hot boys
Boys.
with a Z.
Yeah,
BOIZ.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
in the Z.
That Z gave me cancer.
What?
Which one?
Hey, Zack's still awake.
Yeah, he's over there.
Hi.
Still hanging around.
He's not passed out yet.
Nope.
I haven't had the opportunity to draw a penis on him in Sharpie.
Well, it's all right. And now we've got
Sharpie
some.
down here.
Well, just to touch on that for a moment, though,
yeah.
Spec Z.
Yeah. So
right?
okay. So Spec Z, it is huge here,
Right.
and then it doesn't seem to have like any existence anywhere else.
I don't know that's necessarily fair. It is starting to grow a little
Well,
bit.
yeah,
You
I
see clusters of 4 and 5 cars here and there starting to grow.
Yeah.
Rocky Mountain has 5 last I checked.
Right.
With
Yeah.
4 owners.
Oh yeah, but no, I remember. I remember a time where there would be
There was
people
none.
like showing like, oh, there's this perfectly built like and teched and everything Spec Z for sale in Florida for like $15,000.
Right.
This dude just needs it gone.
And then it's here. Like
Yeah.
a week later, it's in Utah.
They're
yeah,
all
like
here.
I just remember a lot of people sharing like for sale posts from like different people. Like, yeah, I built the Spec Z, but there's nobody here.
Well, and then they just advertise at Utah like, you guys need this car.
Yeah, they're just like, you guys do this.
We are, to be
It's-
fair, the dumping grounds of all the weird shit.
Yeah.
Perhaps. I just think that the Spec Z was a really fun phenomenon. Like, I can't necessarily explain what it was. I mean, I got it started right at the right time. I got drivers involved, and I found a couple of really fun drivers that I think really embodied the spirit of the class.
Oh yeah.
Arthur and Thomas and even Chad Alders and Richard Fitzgerald. These guys really kind of spoke to the class, and then they brought on new guys like Justin Jones and Vincent Meyer and everybody that just really got behind the class. And it sort of started a wildfire. Like, it kind of ran out of control, and before you know it, we had 17 cars on grid.
Yeah.
So the car's great. Its price point, like we talked about earlier in the show, is low. It's very reliable, and it's actually really quite fast. So I think there's a lot of reasons why the class became quite popular. Could it have been another class? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And people say, well, you cannibalized like the Spec Miata class for that, and I just kind of disagree, because I don't think any of those drivers wanted to get in a Miata.
No, it just
Yeah,
seemed like
there's a bunch of them that had no interest in Miata.
Yeah.
If Spec Z wasn't there, they were going to find
they were going to find something else.
Something-
More expensive,
yeah.
and that would have been less fun. They would have been sitting on the sidelines with a broken car. So
Yeah.
like, it was a perfect fit. And I mean, not to poo-poo Miatas, I'm working really hard to build that back up, and we got Ben Lamberson campaigning for 20 Miatas in 2020, and I
Yeah.
think we're going to get there. Like,
Yeah,
it's
like,
really growing.
Yeah, because I remember Spec Miata like kind of took a dip, but it is. I mean, how many more Spec Miatas are we going to have this season than we did last year?
Like 4 at
three or
least.
four,
you're
yeah.
going to be shocked.
So yeah, the Spec Z was a cool phenomenon, and I'm super excited, and I'm going to keep, trying to promote that class, and it's definitely super exciting to see 20 identical cars all diving into the corner and making that sonorous trumpet sound that they are so notorious
It is
for.
exciting to see, horrible to hear.
Horrible. You
Don't defend.
I think you're deaf, Matt.
I don't understand. Like,
Don't
would
defend-
you rather hear a flock of Miatas?
No,
mean,
never mind. That's
I'm not going to sit here and defend those frog motors.
At
but
this
I mean,
point, yes, I would rather hear a flock of Miatas.
I'm
Yeah.
actually on
It's just because
two.
you have to hear them at full. Well, we do too.
yeah,
Because it's terrible in drifting. I get it, because they're like on the rail the whole time, and tires are squealing and stuff. But like, I just think.
Well, I mean, I hear just as many VQs doing the same thing.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, you get it a little bit worse than we do, I think, perhaps. But
Well, I get all the hot boys that want to put their 3-inch blast pipes on these cars.
You're also a
And
lot
they're-
closer to
they're
them when they're doing
farting
that.
around the paddock. Yeah,
Yeah,
at
making
least
that
you
terrible
guys,
noise.
at least you guys get the better part of a half
And they
mile away
shift.
from the damn
Yeah,
thing.
and then they do the downshift thing, and they all make it at the exact same time. When you hear like 5 cars hurtling down into turn 1, and they all hit that downshift about the same time, oh, it's fucking cool.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. I
Spec
love being
racing.
there for like the Porsche days and listening to all those cars chasing the front straight. And
It does sound good.
I'm sorry, flat six noises. That just gets me misty.
So good. No, but this is. I mean, I started my road racing was Spec Miata.
Right.
I borrowed one, blew a $10,000 motor in
Ooh.
a $11,000 car, and then I owned a Miata. But there's something about racing with a bunch of people that no matter how much better or how much worse they are than you, you're not going very far away from them quickly. You watch Spec Z, you watch Spec Miata, and even the back of the field is usually 3 or 4 cars racing door to door, bumper to
man.
bumper,
Yeah,
hard. There's always racing going on.
We've
If
had some of
somebody
the most fun watching those. I mean, we've had
Yeah.
qualifying
Oh, yeah.
sessions with 17 cars that were less than the top 10 were less than 2 seconds apart.
Yeah.
the top 7 were 1 second apart. It was insane. These guys have all stepped the game up, and I think it's really interesting. It's funny because they used to say this. I don't think they say it anymore. They realize I'm an old dried up hack, but they used to say like, "Why don't you get back in a Z and race us, Matt?" And it's because they'll beat my ass. That's why. Like, I know.
You realize the game's passed you by. You're not going to
Yeah.
jump back in
I
there.
demonstrated once that I dominated the shit out of them, and then I ain't going back. Like, I'm going out on a high.
he's just going to drive an ST3 Beamer on Sundays.
That's right.
Yep.
Just when no one's watching.
It's bright yellow, you can't miss it.
Except for me. I'm always there watching the Minion.
True. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that class, and I wish we could see that just be the same everywhere in the country because it should really be the escalation from Miata.
Yeah.
Spec Z,
Like-
GTS is a great class, or like not GTS, but Spec E46 is a great class, but the build cost is significantly higher. So I mean, this is like it's just right there. It's where it needs to be.
So there we go.
All right, Vinny, there you go.
We've explained Spec Z as best we can. Mm-hmm. All right, and now from the Shenanigans Super Secret Facebook group, Matt Barker. He has a Volkswagen Corrado. He wants to know how many laps it's going to take before something catastrophic happens to said Corrado.
I bid $1, Bob.
I want to, and I know he can't answer this, but I'm really curious when he brings it back out, how much boost he's going to be running.
Well,
Because if he's got it turned down and
He has demonstrated completed track days in the past
yeah,
in that car.
Yeah, he ran a bunch of them and then blew it up, and we haven't seen him since. So if
In
he's
typical Volkswagen fashion, I'm right there with him. I own a Golf. I get it.
I've had a few. I own a GTI now, and
Hey.
I've had a few different gens, but I loved the Corrado. Like, I got a soft spot for the Corrado, and I'd love to see him come out. I'm going to give him 190 laps.
wow.
Wow.
Not in one day.
Okay.
Not
All
in
right.
one day.
All right.
But
In the 6
multiple
hour.
events.
Okay.
Yeah, either that or he's gonna roll back with a roll bar and run the enduro with us.
Nice.
All right.
Gosh, that's a good question for Matt. I think I'm just going to go ahead and be the opposite end of that. I'm going to put him at like 13 laps. He won't
Damn.
finish the second session.
That's 3 more than I guess the last time where cylinder 3 number 3 cracked.
Yeah, cylinder 3 cracked probably before 10 laps, but I think he finally threw in the towel on lap 10. I said I put the line at 6.5 laps, so
Duly noted.
yep. So there you go, Matt. All you got to do is do that 7th lap, and
Len-
you have proven me wrong.
Let the record show.
I think technically if you do 14, I win.
Well, there you go.
But God damn it, I bid $1.
All right, fine, you win.
If you're all off, I win.
Dang.
Is that how that works?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we've got some questions from the Facebook page. First, Scott says hi.
Hi, Scott Michael Chamberlain.
I'm waving for him. I don't think he's waving. Let's see, Shane Petrosillo. When grocery shopping, do you guys drift or grip through the aisles with your cart?
Drift.
Drift.
And I pop
Drift only.
wheelies. I pop shit tons of wheelies.
Yes.
Except for with the Costco cart. The big flat Costco carts are
can't
grip
do it.
only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, what about the IKEA carts? Because those are the 4-wheel steering.
Oh, you
IKEA.
you drift the shit out of those.
I know,
like
right?
me
Yeah.
and Dave
You
did,
always
get
drift the
weird looks
Volvos.
from everybody.
Yeah, you always have to
Dude, I'm
drift
fucking doing
Volvos.
donuts as we're going straight.
because it's a Volvo.
Yeah.
Yeah, like these lovely carpets you see beneath you.
He's a good moose.
Me and Dave went to IKEA when I had my Supra, just to see how practical that car could be. And then
All of the tapestries in here and all of the carpeting were fit into the hatch of a Mark III Supra and closed the hatch.
yeah,
But did it start and make it back here?
Yes.
yeah.
Rhonda was a very reliable car. The only major failure was the clutch slave cylinder.
Yeah, and then the
Sorry,
starter.
clutch master.
Yeah, Clutch Master that the guy I bought it from said was new.
Definitely was not new.
Let's.
I pulled the original slave out of that, or master out of that car.
Gross.
It was a fun trip to Idaho.
Pretty
day.
sure we already answered Luke's question.
Yeah, Luke wanted to know, I'm showing up for my first track day. What do you suggest I have ready to go to make the whole day go smoothly?
Bring water.
Yes, water.
Drinking water.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Water, cooler. There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, Zach.
Yes or no?
Yes.
In and out.
What do you mean?
Did you enjoy their food?
The restaurant.
The restaurant food.
Only under certain conditions.
Self-proclaimed dirty hippie. Don't really enjoy it.
All right.
So a no and a kinda.
Yeah, like if I'm coming back from a very long track day weekend, like 10-hour drive back from Chuckwalla, we got to stop in Vegas because it's 10 o'clock at night for an in and out, and then get back on the road and get to Salt Lake because we got to go to work on Monday. Like it hits home.
I'll give you that. I'll
It's
give you
very
that.
certain criteria. Like
Oh,
if
yeah.
I'm sitting here, I don't think of it is a place to go right now. No,
No.
All right. And
given
then-
any other choice.
I like it.
Yep. And then we're going to round it out from Aaron Biggie Brown with the track's long and storied history of bitter rivalries between race support organizations. What are Dave and Matt doing to help bolster and grow animosity between rival factions? Are there any new feuds in the works? And if so, any tawdry details can be shared?
We're just walking around giving out hugs.
Duh.
Big hugs. And we're going to try to make everybody enjoy racing.
You definitely look like a hug machine. Like, I would walk
Look
up
at
to
him.
you and hug you.
No, Biggie's definitely got an inside track in a lot of that drama, and people are always positioning and trying to leverage advantage, right? I mean, it's racing. You're going to try to use anything you can to get the upper hand, and certainly we have drivers that do that, and shops that do that as well on their own. They're just doing their part, trying to figure out how to use those rules against their opponents as best they can. So, yeah, there's been maneuvering, and we do our best to be consistent with the application of the rules. I try not to set any new precedents whenever I can, and we really try to fall back on what we call the CCRs, club codes and regulations, as well as class rules. But it's an evolution, so there's always a bit of a fight or a combat on every rule. And plus, I think a lot of racers don't always understand this because they build their car for a certain class and they make these modifications based on this, and then only to find out the very next year that they can't use those rims that they just bought that were 10 inches wide or something like that. And yeah, that sucks. It means you just spent $2,000 you didn't need to spend, and you've got to now spend another $2,000 to get the right 9-inch rims. And that's brutal, and I'm feeling that pain because we just did this ourselves. And it's just it's a consequence of racing. The rules change. You have to make modifications and improvements because I think ultimately what racing comes down to is rules, right? If there's no rules, it isn't really racing. We do have unlimited classes, but technically that's just a pocketbook.
Yeah.
It's not really racing. So in order to have racing, you've got to have rules, and those rules have to constantly be adjusted for performance. So, yes, there is lots of drama, Biggie, I assure you.
Yes.
Is it frustrating? Yeah, I think for all parties involved it can be frustrating. But at the end of the day, our goal is to just have hopefully a larger race group, a larger competition base. And
Larger TT group.
yeah, we just hope to make it work as best we can, and we'll work hard towards that.
Nice. And then he also says, is there still talk at a national level of shelving redundant race classes, e.g. GTS and some spec classes, and combining them all under ST, or are any other ideas being explored to incentivize people to actually compete with other drivers?
He is hard hitting. Biggie is really.
Every year, the GTS question comes up, and It comes up on a national level.
Maybe we need to clarify for our regular
so-
audience.
Yeah, so
Let's just we have this thing called GTS and something called ST in our car classing.
yeah, so there's GTS, which is the German Touring Series,
Correct.
which is where you see a lot of the European stuff, and
Specifically German cars.
yes,
Germish.
and, yeah,
Yes.
and inexplicably a Lamborghini,
Right.
which okay, so
I can explain.
I can explain too.
Okay.
Yeah, it turns out there are 4 rings and VW logo stamped on that car.
All over
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
There absolutely is. And that wasn't necessarily why the car was allowed at the national level. The car was allowed at the national level because the class was, at some point, attempting to move towards a more
A European?
standard.
Is
where
this the Super Trofeo you guys are talking about, or is this?
I mean,
it is
Oh.
Lamborghini in
Yeah,
general.
it's just all Lamborghinis. Okay,
Yeah,
you guys said
I
a
have-
Lamborghini.
yeah.
And Ferrari.
Yeah,
was kind of the
Ferrari.
goal was
Ferraris, Lamborghinis, even Aston Martins,
Yep.
McLarens. It was pictured at some point that these would all be rolled into the GTS class. So for the audience, German Touring Series was basically supposed to be for German cars, Porsches, Volkswagens, BMWs, but primarily
Alfa Romeos.
Porsches and BMWs.
yeah,
But the ironic aspect of this conversation is our ST is for all cars. Super Touring fits BMWs, Corvettes, Mustangs, Camaros, whatever. All cars, Porsches, they all fit in that same group. So they're parallel classes, even to the extent that they have the same horsepower to weight rules. So these classes are based on if you weigh this much, you can have this much horsepower to weight. But there was a distinction where we adopted effectively what was called the BMW CCA many years ago, and that's where we inherited a large GTS contingent. That's where it all came
And
from.
by we, Matt's talking about NASA National. This happened in the from my understanding, it happened in the 2 California regions
so-
exclusively.
Because that's where BMW CCA is huge.
It was.
Oh, yeah,
it was huge there. They instantly picked up 45 or 50 cars between 2 regions, and copied their rule structure over.
okay.
And
That's where it all started. So then now, fast forward 15 years later, we still have GTS, and the problem is we're creating sort of a little bit of segregation in classing.
Yeah.
And some competitors enjoy the exclusivity of the German Touring Series, and other racers want to just go race people. They want people in class to race with. So if you have the same horsepower to weight ratio as this car that has a German name plaque on it, like, why can't we race that guy? Well,
Yeah.
because you're not in their class, you're not allowed. Why not? Because you're not German. I don't understand. So anyways, biggest question is, can we get rid of GTS and get rid of some of these, what some might consider redundant classes? There has been some movement nationally to do that, but ultimately that direction's kind of maybe not being pushed right now. National is not so keen as to what do they call
they're worried it would displace some people that have
Displace.
built their cars specifically to some of the uniqueness in the GTS rules. There's some very specific rules about engine swap, blah, blah, blah. And GTS allows... It's got some very focused rules on some very specific cars that would bump them one class higher if they were to move to ST.
So
Or
it's
they
not,
just have to detune.
it's not that those cars can't be modified, but again, one of the common threads that I run into with racers all over the world, I shouldn't say all over the world, that's exaggerating, all over the region and or country, is they always ask, why would I slow my car down?
Yeah. Why would I spend money to slow my car down? I heard that years ago with a bright yellow Cup car running a straight pipe exhaust. It was the most loud, ear-splitting car you can imagine.
Because the exhaust is 1 foot long.
Sounded so good. But for SCCA events, we were required to bring out sound monitor. And that car would never meet the sound requirement. And he would drive until he was disqualified for the day, and then he'd come back the next day and drive till he was disqualified.
Oh.
Which, depending upon when she woke up, could sometimes even be make it all the way to the race.
But ultimately the question came down to, you said,
the
fix
question
it.
is, why don't you just put an exhaust on for our events? Why would I spend $1,400 to make my car sound worse?
Yeah, it's a weird perception. So, I mean, again, racing, as I mentioned earlier in the conversation, is about rules. And when they say, why would I slow my car down to spend money to slow my car down? It's like, well, because you want to race.
Yeah,
if you want to race, you got to do this.
You can either build your car, even if that means slowing it down a little. You build your car to be the top of the class that it's legal for, or you end up kind of in the middle gray area where you don't have a chance to win.
Right. That's actually a great point, because every class leader is going to build a car that's too fast for the class and then detune it, so they're at the very tippy top of their class. Now, it's important to also note for your listeners that the graduations between these car classing is very minor. We're not talking about they've got to add 600 pounds of ballast to their car.
No,
we're
it's
literally
like,
talking about 50 pounds for a car or 40 horsepower detune on a 900 horsepower car. I exaggerate, but
it's minor things for a lot of these cars.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So they wouldn't be big changes, but people really start taking ownership of classes. They feel like I've been in this class for many years, and I've campaigned my car in this class for many years, and they feel like
I'm entitled to be at the bleeding edge of this class.
This is my class.
I'm entitled to win.
Yeah, so I feel like some people, do take some ownership, and I appreciate that. I like the fact that they have an investment in a class and they take ownership. What I really want to see from them, instead of saying like, this is my class and you shouldn't change it, is like kind of making a case for why it could or could not be changed, and maybe how to better the class further, right? Well, let's see. Would this class actually be better if it was more inclusive, or would it be better if it was more exclusive? And explain why.
Yeah.
So it'd be more important, and then not just make that campaign with me, because honestly, I don't make classes, and I don't want to. I have a rule book that makes classes for me. It's dictated by a national board of people that have been doing this longer than I have, and certainly I can influence those decisions, but they need to make their case to the highest powers, basically. And that's where I think a lot of people hopefully are starting to learn to because we've started seeing a lot of interaction between the national leaders and even our racers as they gain experience about their classes and learn how to campaign for whatever it is they want. Maybe they want a better splitter. They go to the national director and say, I want to run a bigger splitter. And that national director says, no, that's stupid. I can't give you a performance advantage. I will let you carry 50 pounds of ballast if you want that splitter. And that's a dialogue. Now actually things are happening. Instead of just saying, well, I want a performance advantage. They're getting feedback. You can have a performance advantage here, but you're going to take a disadvantage here. That's the nature. BOP, everybody's heard that term in terms of racing, and we don't have necessarily a BOP, but it comes in the form of car classing.
Yeah, there's always some sort of balance that has to happen somewhere.
Yes.
It's not just like, I want to put this turbo the size of a small dog on my car, and I still want to run ST4.
Right.
Okay.
Well, here's your 1,400 pounds.
Okay, that's fine. Do you see this camper? You're going to need to drag it behind you.
Yeah.
Good
exactly.
luck.
Yep.
Tent trailer, open.
So
good luck going through the attitudes with that thing. God bless you if you make it.
Don't you tease me with a good time.
I think that we're currently kind of not pushing to get rid of the GTS classing because it has a fairly strong following elsewhere. And if some of our listeners have been paying attention, they are actually collapsing classes. There is no longer a PTE class.
Yeah, no, that's been bumped out. Mm-hmm. It's now, what is it like?
ST6.
Yeah.
So we've added ST5 last year and ST6 this year, and we've effectively since 2013, I think, gotten rid of PTA, PTB, PTC, PTD, blah, 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 and collapsed them basically into the same 5 classes. So we've been making some strong progress there, and I'm really happy with that. Because I would much rather be doing trophies for 6 total classes, 8 or 9 including spec, than 25 classes. And then there's
it's more fun racing.
And there's more contingency to be spread around, too, because if you have 5 people in class, like someone's winning a tire.
Yeah, whereas there are some classes where it's just like one dude.
Yeah.
Like
He
one
is
competitor.
he is not taking a tire home.
No,
doing
and it's
that.
just like, okay, you're doing this. God bless you for it. Like, do you really, like...
I still really do like that they're out there, but it just strikes me the irony. I remember specifically a conversation with a guy complaining about how expensive tires are, and then he also was one of the ones that asked to separate the classes even further.
Like, you need... Yeah, like...
That seems counterintuitive. But
yeah, like...
hindsight's 20/20. I didn't think of it at the time, so...
It's one of you do realize you just argued against yourself in the same argument you presented me. You're right there, right, fella?
Yeah, I definitely want. I don't want to say no to anyone. And when Biggie and I first started NASA here in Utah, we did restrict classes. We actually only had about 13 classes available total out of I think at that time near 30. And I think, we obviously at the time were trying to accomplish something. We wanted to see bigger car classing, bigger groups. And we wanted to promote racing, and that's obviously you can see that reflected in his comments. Like, he wants racing. He's always been one of the most passionate and smartest guys I know in regards to, racing and the fundamentals. Like, I learned a lot from him.
And pushing the rule book and pushing class limits.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and writing class rules. That guy's on top of it.
Just thinking completely outside the box.
So he has, I really appreciate what he's trying to articulate there, but we also have to do our best to make a successful program, and sometimes that means we don't get to do exactly the program we want. So after, I think, 2014, we actually opened up all the classing to everyone, and I think we have seen some growth since then because people do find a home where they want to be and for their unique flavor of car.
Well, very well said. Cool. Very well put. All right, we need to bring this sucker to bed.
Yeah, what is it? 10:30, 11 o'clock?
It's like 10:30.
It's 10:36.
Yep.
This is an hour and 50-minute episode.
Can't you just edit out 45 minutes of
I blame
blathering?
Zach.
Yeah, just cut out all of me talking. You'll save an hour at
He
that.
asked good questions, though.
Yeah,
It really does.
What he said, done stuff.
Could we paraphrase his questions?
Oh, you don't edit these things necessarily, do
Not
you?
necessarily, just because I like to keep the flow of the conversation.
And it might take 10 hours to edit it.
Exactly. So,
Edit out all my bullshit.
we're just wasn't
Yeah.
bullshit, Zach. You had a lot of good stuff this time.
Great
right.
questions.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
The Camcast NASA Extravaganza.
There we go.
Well, don't worry, folks. If you haven't got enough now, you'll have plenty of time coming up in 3 weeks for round 1.
Yep.
The end of the month, you can get all your questions answered there. You can learn tons more about it. If you have any questions, please reach out to Matt at nasautah.com.
Or Dave at nasautah.com.
to learn more about driving on track in any way. Let us know.
Hit us up on Facebook or Instagram.
Yes.
Hit me up on Facebook or both of us on Instagram.
Damn.
There you go.
That's the fire right there.
Yes, they are at NASA Utah. They are Matt and Dave of NASA Utah.
Word up.
Yep. So, like we said, first event, end of the month, 29th through the 31st of what track are we running?
Outer
Loop.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good.
This is the co-regional. We're actually going to have a lot of drivers from Rocky Mountain. So if fans weren't aware, they're going to be able to race with peers from across the Rockies, which will be. They've always found some very challenging races with those guys and gals.
Yeah.
So
Very
please
cool.
join us.
Yes, so come out, help us kick off the season with our friends from across the Rockies. Going to be running the Outer Loop, which is, I think, probably the best one to bring people to come spectate at because you get to see all the fun stuff on the West track, everybody just hammer down, and then you get to see them come through Witchcraft, up to the Attitudes, and then...
Disappear.
Yep.
Sometimes forever.
And then Shazam, they're back.
Yep.
For the most part.
On the
It's
front
always
straight.
It's always
Except for
fun.
that one guy. That one guy didn't make it.
Yeah, there's always one, but it's okay. They're never gone forever. They just end up having to go back to the paddock on the back of a truck and explain what
Or on a
happened.
rope.
Or on a rope, or on a rope, or sometimes they limp back in under their own power.
3-wheeling it.
Oh boy,
Damn.
oh sometimes. Anyway, so nasautah.com for more information. NASA Utah on Facebook, NASA Utah on Instagram. You can find one of them on one of those, both of them on the other. They mentioned which one. I'll let you decipher which. We are at Cam Automag on all the social medias. I'll be at the first NASA event. I don't know about Zach or Dave.
We'll see what happens.
I
Zach
definitely
will
wanna
be
try.
there.
I would like to be there.
Okay.
I'm definitely going to try.
Okay. Well, just let me know so we can figure this out.
That guy wanna be
They'll
there.
be in their world famous Pinto Go Boom shirts.
I mean, I'll be wearing definitely some sort of white shirt. The Pinto Go Boom is white, which you can get that at camautoswag.com.
I might be wearing a Cam Auto sweatshirt. We'll see.
It'll be here.
It'll be here. All right.
I really want to wear an Understood Victory shirt at a NASA event. I think that'd be really
we'll,
awesome.
We'll work on that.
Okay.
Solid.
Yep.
I'll tell that story after the podcast.
He's the Plow King.
I really am.
All right. Guys, thank you for joining us.
Don't
Holy
forget
shit.
to contribute to Cam Auto Mag on Patreon.
Yes, Patreon.
Wow. That was...
Holy shit, you should replace me. Fuck, dude, that was amazing. God damn.
Patreon.com/CamAutoMag, CamAutoSwag.
Got it backwards.
Whatever.
Camp bag.
It works.
Swag mag.
So on and so forth.
/Netscape.
Let us know what you thought about this episode. by
ESPX.
shooting us an email to mailbag@camautomag.com. Podcast available wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Let's see. Shout out to Steady Broke Clothing, Cam Auto 15 at checkout. We did everything else. All right, I've been Mike.
My name's Scoot.
I've been Zach.
Yeah, and this is Matt Gaver with NASA Utah,
And I'm Dave.
Damn right
I love
you
it.
are.
Good night, everybody.
As
Thank you.
Dave as he can be.
Wow.